Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Leibold Field in Richmond. We are now ready to begin the second season. It's the Newcastle Trojans coming in at 3-6 on the year. The Red Devils getting a chance to host tonight. The Red Devils coming into this one at 5-4. I'm Troy Darengowski alongside tonight Ryan Miller as we get set for the second season, which, Brian, no matter what happens in the regular season, you could be good, you could be bad, but you always get a chance to start over here tonight. Welcome to the broadcast.
Thank you for having me.
Great to have you with us. You know, you're high atop tonight. Cool evening, but a nice evening for football. Let's start. I want to get your thoughts. You've seen the Red Devils for the majority of the season. Give me your thoughts on Richmond's turnaround and the way Tony Sonsini has now led this team to 5 wins this year.
Well, I think it's all big coming from a freshman quarterback coming in, Drew Van Vliet. Coming in, pressure, big thing.
Yeah.
And we've seen him develop over the year, and with him, he's not necessarily a runner. He's a passer. There's been some up and down moments, but he's showed a lot of improvement.
Yeah.
And especially around the receiving core, especially Wyatt Bird, carrying the team.
Yeah.
Especially, outstanding season for Wyatt Bird so far.
Yeah, over 1,000 yards going into this one here tonight. The other thing is about this team that I admire is the players that stick with it, and especially those seniors that have been through so much over the last 3+ years with 4 coaches in that amount of time. For those guys to stick with it and turn this around, that's their legacy now, that this year they got things turned around.
Yeah, definitely.
And now, tonight though, you play a Newcastle team, which, if my memory is correct, and I'm getting a little bit older, Ryan, but I remember just a couple of years ago, they walked on this field and just knocked the Red Devils around. Nia Williamson had a huge night throwing the football. Bumbalo was catching the ball over the place, and they won it 41-0. And I think they have the feeling they can come in here and do it again tonight. Just a brief history a little bit about what you see in the Trojans coming to this one tonight.
Yeah,
They love to throw the football.
Yeah, they definitely do. Especially, would you have it's Greaser? Yeah, You see his stats: 1,820 yards through the season. Just 20 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, and they've relied on that passing game so much this season, and it's especially with the receiving core having a balanced amount of touchdowns for each.
Yeah. And here's the other thing. They'll go 5 wide tonight. We'll talk about that in the scouting report. They'll go 5 wide, and you don't see very many teams. Now, Richmond does that once in a while, but I think what you're going to see tonight, Ryan, is they're going to go 5 wide a lot. So the question is, can Richmond slow that passing attack down enough to make sure that you don't get burned? They got burned a couple of times against Kokomo, got guys beat deep. Well, the thing is, can that happen tonight to the Red Devils to stay in this ball game?
Yeah, it's just going to come down to their mentality. They can't break down. They have to think smart. They have to pressure Greaser.
Yeah.
They got to get to him quickly.
Yeah.
In order for him to stop, the deep ball or the mid ball.
Yeah, and the one thing about it is if they go 5 wide, Richmond may blitz a little bit more, but then you leave guys open underneath. We'll talk about that coming up in a little bit as well. All right, so the Red Devils are 5-4. Now you look at the schedule and people say, why that was 4-5? But I remind you once again, the McCutcheon game was a forfeit, goes to Richmond. So Richmond actually finished at 4-3 in the NCC, 5-4 tonight. If they win tonight, my understanding is they would end up going to Mount Vernon if Mount Vernon beats Connorsville. However that works out. I thought they were going to be home next week, and then Mount Vernon, if they won, they would be home in the championship game. We'll check on that and make sure. But either way, I'm pretty sure Mount Vernon's going to beat Connorsville tonight, the Red Devils would travel next week to take on Mount Vernon. But don't jump ahead too far yet. Let's take a timeout. We're going to really take a look at this Newcastle team under head coach Kyle York coming up in a couple of moments. Not the same team they were a couple of years ago with Nia Williamson and Luke Bumbalo, but they're still a dangerous football team coming in tonight. They beat Greenfield last week and put 62 on the board, though Greenfield's not a very good football team. I'll take 62 points anytime. All right, you hold your horses right there, Ryan. We're going to come back here from the head coach, Tony Sonsini. We'll get his thoughts of where they're at going into tonight's game. The good news is everybody's healthy. Everybody feels good about tonight's matchup. We'll do that coming up in just a moment. Stay right there. This is Richmond football right here in Radio Troy Digital Sports.
Listen up, high school sports fans. This cheer's for you.
You're number one. You're number one.
Why all the love? Why do we think you're number one?
Because as high school athletes, we know there is no us without you.
We know that when you buy a ticket to see an IHSAA game or meet, you're helping pay for new uniforms, safer equipment, or even a bus ride to the game.
But we also know what you're really saying is, I believe in you. I believe you could be somebody.
When you think about all of the opportunities your attendance at an IHSAA athletic event creates,
and the fact that you paid for your ticket,
well, fantastic doesn't begin to describe how we feel about you.
High school sports.
You pay,
we play.
Everybody wins.
This message brought to you by the IHSAA, encouraging you to go to a high school game this week and help build a future that benefits us all.
Red Devils finished out the regular season on a strong note, to whipping up on Kokomo on Friday night. I say whipping up because it was, from the very beginning, a dominant game for the Red Devils in their win. Joining us once again, head coach Tony Sonsini. And, you know, I was talking about in the broadcast a little bit about you never apologize for any win, anything like that. But didn't that feel pretty good beating up on Kokomo right there?
Yeah, it felt good. I mean, it was nice to be on the opposite end of a running clock, the mercy rule.
Yeah.
Kokomo was missing a few players, but our kids just played really hard and they executed everything perfect. The game plan, offense, defense, and special teams.
Yeah, I know they were missing some guys, but I'll tell you what, I thought from the very beginning your football team played I just felt dominant from the beginning. And I don't know if that makes any sense or not, but it felt like you guys came ready to play.
Yeah, we controlled the game. We were definitely ready to play. I mean, all week we talked about the importance of beating Kokomo, what happened the past 2 years. Playing Kokomo, and how the score was very lopsided, that our kids have the opportunity to, revenge their losses. And this senior class hasn't really beat Kokomo. So, they were fired up, ready to play, and everybody played extremely hard, and they executed everything perfect. And, we were able to control the game and dominate it at times.
You took advantage of their mistakes. Your offensive line and defensive lines, I thought, won that battle as well. You were able to run the football. You were able to throw the football. I think in all phases of the game, you pretty much won that thing.
Yeah, and that's what we got to do. We got to do that again this week to get the win. But our strength of our offense and our defense is up front. So we were able to utilize that, and we have a couple good backs that you give them some creases, they're going to find some, and then when you start packing the box, we have weapons outside and we can throw it over top of you. So it was nice to be able to do that, give all our guys some confidence, and get it moving in the right direction. Because what you want to do is you want to end a regular season on a right note, going up, on the incline, not on the decline. And so we're heading in the right direction.
Hey, by the way, not only with the ability to have a running back like a Wyatt Bird, then when Aquavian Allen had the one touchdown brought back, which I'm still trying to figure out, the penalty was way, way over there, and the play was way, way over here. So but he would have had 3 touchdowns that night.
Yeah, and and that play really frustrates me on film because the penalty shouldn't even been on us. They tackled our receiver, and our receiver pushed the guy off of him. Like they just tackled him. They just speared him. So, and there are some other things that happened in the game that we don't teach that was very unclean, I guess, that happened on some penalties that they were flagged for. But, I just told our guys, you got to play through it. We're not going to stoop to that level. We're just going to keep playing. We're going to play Richmond football. But, Quavion wanted an opportunity to play some running back. We gave him some opportunity. And DeMarco, there's another good running back who had a chance to score early on in the game. He just was shoestring tackle away, and he's in there. So, we got a three-headed monster that I feel really comfortable with on any given night. So, as long as we're healthy, we got a chance.
Yeah, let's go to your defense, too, because I thought overall you had them very frustrated. They really, most times, didn't really know what they wanted to do at times because you were able to mix things up so much.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, like I said, Danny Capps has done an outstanding job as the defense coordinator this year, and his staff, Jeremiah Dunkel and Kyle Fisher. The secondary coach is Kyle Fisher. Jeremiah Dunkel is the defensive line coach, has done an outstanding job. game planning and scheming and getting a great feel of who they're playing and trying to get their tendencies down. And they hit us on 2 big runs, which we were there. We just didn't finish. We just didn't make the tackle. And, we cleaned it up at halftime, and they weren't able to do that anymore. So, I have total confidence in them. But, being healthy, having our 2 linebackers back, having our defensive line healthy really helps us because our front 6, if you will, and our defense is pretty good.
They got outside on you a couple of times, or those are the times you'd mentioned right there.
The 2 runs they got outside of us, and both of the times we were there, we just didn't make a tackle or we didn't squeeze it back in. We just kind of hit the block and bounced off and said, "Oh, somebody else is going to make the tackle."
Yeah.
And, those are things you point out off on film, and the second half they fixed it. So, Danny was upset because he didn't want to score. We took away their passing game. We didn't let them do what they want to do, is go over top with number 11, and we shut that down. So they weren't able to run the football like they wanted either. So that was good. So he's comfortable with it, and he told me going in, if you can score 28, we're going to win the ball game.
Yeah.
Well, we had 28 in the first half, and Danny goes, "We got this one," so they ain't scoring anymore.
Yeah.
And they didn't score another one in the second half.
Yeah, I got to go back to, and there were several big plays in the game, but what really I thought maybe was the signature play on your defense. There was a pass, and you'll have to forgive me who their receiver was. It was on the far side of the field from us, and Jack Guiley goes all the way across the field and was still able to get over there and help make the play and knock that pass down, because I think your corner got beat on that play. But Guiley goes all the way over there. I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah, we were in like I guess our cover 2 look or whatever coverage they call. And our corner's supposed to sit, but one goes vertical. He's supposed to go with him for so long and then let him go. Well, Jack got a late read, but read it late, got over there and made an outstanding diving play and just took the sail out of their win. And, that was a defining moment. The interception before half by Jack Guiley was great.
Yeah.
Some crucial quarterback sacks. And, one of the biggest plays of the game was, Drew threw an interception, and he's running down the sideline, and Wyatt Berg comes from behind and strips it from the big fella. And takes it back 40 yards the other way.
Yeah.
So, that just little things, anything that went right or could go right went right our way. We blocked a couple punts. We ran a great 2-point conversion, a fake extra point. We just didn't execute on it. We just threw over the head. But just whatever we wanted to do, we were able to do Friday night. Now, hopefully it's the same way this week.
Hey, by the way, you're speaking of the play. I mean, big number 78, I think it was. And, he's rumbling that way, and then Wyatt able to come back. That was one of the more bizarre plays you're going to see, too.
Yeah, and it's effort. We preach effort all the time, and that's totally Wyatt not giving up on a play.
Yeah.
And then it's our guys not giving up on play and blocking for him.
Yeah.
So that's just the little things that we have to do to win football games. And I couldn't be more proud of my team just for something like that. For he throws an interception when he should have just ate it or throw it out of bounds. He was trying to make a play. Wyatt doesn't give up, see it running down from behind, take the ball from him, and then the other 10 guys throw blocks for Wyatt. So it's just a testament of where these guys are right now.
I think you got another 15 yards in that play too, wasn't there?
There was on film you see the guy, he just clubs Sakai. Sakai was trying to block him, and he just clubs him. So
wow.
There were some things that happened in the game that are very bizarre, and some things that didn't get called that were very bizarre that I've brought to some people's attention.
Yeah, and I'm sure more frustration than anything on their part, right?
Yeah, and they had a few guys out, and they're talented. They have some talent. Those young kids that they played were talented. They're freshmen. Their quarterback was out, which we didn't know, and they started a freshman quarterback, and he was pretty good. He could throw the ball, and he could run it a little bit. So, Kokomo is going to be set for the future. It was just nice that our kids were able to get that win and dominate the game from the opening kickoff.
All right, well, this week now we begin tournament play, and we all talk about it being a different feeling and a different atmosphere, and just everything kind of changes now because you either win or you go home and start packing up your stuff. Talk about the Trojans. I know a couple of years ago they came over here. They had Williamson, their quarterback. Bumbalo was their receiver, and they just threw it all over the place and shut out Richmond. They're a little bit different now. What do you see in the Trojans?
Well, they still have the same coach. Kyle does a nice job over there. He comes in with a college mindset. They're going to toss it around, with his college experience where he coached that. They still go 5 wide a lot. They still go 3-by-1, still run doubles. So they still do the same things they did a couple years ago. They just don't have that one dominant receiver like with the Bumbalo. Their quarterback is still good. He can throw it. He's just not as good as their quarterback they had 2 years ago was really, really good. Yeah. They got a 6'5" receiver. They got a couple other receivers that are really good, really fast, physical. So, defense has got their hand, they got their work cut out for them. They got their hands full, so to speak. We have to win up front. We have to win in trenches on the offense and defensive line if we want to be victorious.
How good are the guys up front?
I mean, they're pretty good. I mean, they got some size. They got some speed. I like our guys. I mean, but Newcastle's good. I mean, they go through the ringer too. They play Delta. They play New Pal. They play Yorktown. They play Pendleton. They've got 3 wins. They beat Rushville. They beat Greenfield, and they beat Shelbyville. But, they play some competition in that conference. So, they're going to come in. They're going to be ready. The last time they faced Richmond, they beat them. Yeah. So they're totally confident they can do it again. So it's important that we come ready to play. We just got to be ready to defend the pass. I mean, they pass it like 60% of the time, 70% of the time. So, we have to just be ready and focus on that.
People may think, well, is this the Newcastle before Bumbalo and those guys? Because when those guys came on the scene and they moved over to the Hoosier Heritage Conference, they kind of turned that program around where all of a sudden there was an interest in football again. And it seems like to me they've kind of carried that on now for the last couple of years.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, his numbers are up. He's doing out, like I said, Kyle's doing an outstanding job. He's a great guy. His dad's the mayor of Newcastle, so he's getting a lot of support from the community and the schools, and kids are playing. It's not anymore at Newcastle where you're either a basketball player or you're nothing. So people now are playing multiple sports, which their baseball team is good, football team is pretty good, and their basketball team is still pretty good. So, when you get those kids at that school to play multiple sports, you get your better athletes out, you're going to be successful.
How's your health this week? That's always important at this time of the year when you've played since late July in practice and then getting into August and such. But you guys okay now?
Yeah, I mean, we're as healthy as we've been all year. We have a couple guys with some tweak ankles here, but right now everybody's good to go, and we just got to keep battling. It's important for us to control the ball offensively this week. With them throwing it so much, we don't want the game to last a 4-hour game. So we got to be smart in how we execute. But I like what we're going into. I mean, Newcastle's a good team, but these seniors, remember when they came in here and just kind of put it on them.
Yeah.
So hopefully that's a little more fuel to the fire for the senior class.
And their attitude, I would generally say, is probably like yours. This is a very winnable football game and a chance to move into the next round.
Yeah, I mean, we can't look to next week, obviously, as Mount Vernon and Connersville play. Mount Vernon's a pretty good team, and Connersville hasn't won a game. So I said we can't look towards Mount Vernon. We can't look towards Connersville. Newcastle stands in front of us. If you want to play another week, here we go. I don't want this to be my last Thursday practice. I don't want this to be my last Wednesday practice. It's got to be your mindset. So, we win the games on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then coming to Friday, we're prepared. So we've had a great week of practice. I feel comfortable where we're at, and we just got a few things we'll have to shore up today, but I'm ready tomorrow, which today was Friday, ready to go.
Yeah, and of course, being at home during tournament time is also a huge advantage, especially in that first round. I think sometimes they call it Upset Friday because you see a lot of upsets in that opening round, but to be home is really nice too.
To be home is nice because you get to play with some of your fans that don't necessarily travel to watch you play. You get the local community involved. Worry about getting on the bus and anything going wrong traveling anywhere. So you never know how I-70 is going to be coming in. Yeah. So it's important that we we're focused, we're locked in, we're ready to go. And Newcastle's rivalry game. I go back to the days watching Richmond basketball, Richmond football, Richmond baseball. We played them all the time. It was a staple. So it's important that these guys know it's important because we don't have many rivalry games left. So this is a rivalry, and we got to make it happen.
Head coach Tony Sonsini. When we come back, we're going to talk about the Newcastle Trojans as they come in here looking to advance just like the Red Devils will, and it certainly should be a good ball game here tonight. We're going to take a quick time out. We'll scout the Trojans coming up next. This is Sectional Football right here on Radio Troy Digital Sport.
Sportsmanship doesn't happen just on the court or on the field or on the mat. It doesn't happen only in the pool or on the green or the track. It also happens in the stands, on the sidelines, on the web, and at home. That's because sportsmanship is everyone's responsibility. We remind you to practice good sportsmanship at all high school sporting events. Treat athletes and officials with respect during competition and especially in social media. And support your team's coaching staff. Remember, sportsmanship has a face. Yours. A message from your high school and the Indiana High School Athletic Association.
Opening week of high school football playoff action here tonight. Troy Derengowski, Ryan Miller as we get set. We're about 11 minutes from kickoff time here tonight. We're going to hear from the area coaches in a moment. Let's be real quick here about Newcastle. I think they're better than their 3-6 record indicates, and I'll tell you why. They play a good gauntlet of teams. Now, there's some teams in that conference that aren't very good, but they got Mount Vernon, they've got Yorktown, they've got Pendleton Heights, Delta. So there's some good football teams. So don't take that 3-6 record lightly, but they can throw the football. Talk a little bit about their starting quarterback.
Well, William Griesser, number one, 232 total yards of offense last week.
Yep.
And with and 1,768 yards passing and
196 yards per game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and with 19 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, very, very good when you talk about a high school quarterback, especially not throwing a lot of interceptions and high enough touchdowns. I mean, it's good.
The other thing, I watched him a little bit in warm-ups, and he's got really good touch. And when you watch him on film, too, when their receivers can get open downfield in the sidelines, he has really good touch over the top of those defenders. Richmond will have to really watch that tonight. Plus, he throws over the middle pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, they're just going to have to really step it up, especially on their defense.
Other weapons, other guys they're going to look to. And these guys are hybrids, and I mean they can be running backs and they can be wide receivers when they go 5 wide.
Yeah, especially their running back, Titus Regal, with 361 yards, with 4 touchdowns and 5.6 yards per carry. And especially if you look at the wide receiving core, Brandon Matley with 44 receptions, 675 yards with 6 touchdowns, and with Dakota Durek, which is a dual threat that can run the ball and receive it with 36 receptions and 398 yards with 5 touchdowns. And you have Cooper Rush with 25 receptions and 280 yards.
Yeah, so, and you look at last week, as you said, you go back to last week's game, and they really put it to Greenfield Central. I mean, they put up some big-time yards and some big-time numbers with over 60 points in that contest as well. But on the season, they only averaged 271 yards of total offense. So you kind of look at that and you go, which is the real deal? So we're going to find out which team is going to show up in this one here tonight. By the way, the Sagarin ratings came out this week, and I don't know how much stock you put in Sagarin ratings, but it tries to judge everything across the board. Right now, you look at Newcastle at 41.22, Richmond right there at 38.88. So if it tells us that, this ought to be a close game tonight.
Yeah, we'll just have to see, especially just the biggest question, can they run the ball efficiently against this Richmond defense?
Yeah, that'll be a key. We're going to get to that in a moment, because I guarantee the one thing you want to do when you get into tournament play is have as balanced of attack as you can. So we'll talk about the keys to the game in a moment. There are a lot of other area games that are going on tonight, and while we have a couple of moments here, we're going to hear a montage of Kyle Padgett from Centerville. He's going to talk about their matchup against Cecina, West Oler, and Northeastern playing Heritage Christian tonight. Phil Renforth, Lincoln hosting North Decatur. This is probably unusual. They have this many area teams at home in the first round. Scott Snodgrass will talk about Hagerstown against Oldenburg Academy, and then Union County head coach Joel Hoffman will talk about their matchup tonight against Eastern Peak. Again, the area coaches talking about their matchups tonight. We're going to take one more time out. When we do come back, we're going to talk about keys to tonight's matchup. That's coming up next. Sectional football right here, Radio Troy Digital Sports.
If you bought a ticket to an IHSAA athletic event last weekend, give yourself a giant pat on the back.
You helped ensure our school has the resources it needs to support our athletic program.
You might have even punched somebody's ticket to a better life.
Yeah, like mine.
So give yourself a big high five.
Yeah.
And thank you.
High school sports.
You pay.
We play.
Everybody wins.
That's right.
This message brought to you by the IHSAA.
Go ahead and get keys to this one here tonight. Ryan's sectional play, as I learned when I was coaching basketball several years ago, is so much different than the regular season because you know if you win, you advance. If you lose, your night's over. So the feeling going in is always different. But there are keys that these teams have to do and execute tonight. Let's start first off with Richmond. Your thoughts on what they have to do tonight to get a win?
Well, I mean, they just got to ride Wyatt Bird, especially keep him on the ground, keep him with the carries, keep him moving. They have that line, just open up gaps for him to, push through the yards, get 6 or 7, just constantly good. Just make sure you got to balance it. Have Van Fleet, start to pick him apart, especially for him not to break down. Have that offensive line protect him as much as they can, and have their defense just have another spectacular performance like last week.
Yeah, that was big, wasn't it? I mean,
I
know Kokomo was missing some players, but still the way they defended I thought was a huge key. But let's go to the other side of the football. We know that Newcastle can put points on the board. We have seen it this year. What do they have to do to win tonight?
Well, they have to determine if they can pass versus Richmond, especially against these corners with Gabe Crow, Jack Guiley. I mean, if they are going to stop their star receivers, and they need to balance, they need to run more.
Yeah.
I mean, they just can't pass all night. They have to be able to find that perfect balance of just running, passing, or vice versa.
Yeah.
And they just got to slow Richmond's scoring down. I mean,
and I think you're right about that one, too. I'm curious to see how good Newcastle's defense is. Now, on the other side of the football, we're not looking at a Richmond team that puts up some gigantic numbers. Now, both teams scored big last week, but you look at Richmond only averaging coming in 18 points per game. I think Richmond's going to have to score more than that tonight to beat Newcastle.
Yeah, especially with the way that Newcastle beat Greenfield last week, scoring 62 points on them. But just one thing you got to keep in mind is the way that Greenfield put up 35 on them, and as you mentioned before, that they're not a great football team. I mean, can our offense utilize just our momentum from last week, and use it towards this week to get the win?
One other thing I'll be curious about: Wyatt Bird carried the football 2 weeks ago 59 times. Now, a lot of people go, 59? That's not, by the way, the all-time record. The all-time record in high school, I believe they said, was 75. He got close.
He did.
But you ride a guy like that 59 times, and he got that cut in half last week to 24. I'm curious. Now, this will have to transpire as we go. I'll be curious to see how much they run him if Richmond gets ahead, and will they just feed him? Because I think he carried the ball like 30-some straight times in the second half against Anderson. So watch Wyatt Bird be a workhorse tonight, but my curiosity is how long do you ride that horse before he dies? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All right, so it will be Richmond getting the football first. For those of you that are joining us tonight, wherever you may be, we like to say hello. We know there's some fans that may be watching over in Newcastle. Thank you for watching here tonight. Really a lot of respect for the way their program has turned around over the last couple of years. I know that we now have an athletic director that is very, very familiar with Newcastle. Warren Cook was an assistant coach here, went to Newcastle and took over their football program, and now is our athletic director. So there's a lot of ties between everybody. And, of course, the Newcastle radio station guys are here tonight as well. Always good to see them over the years. So here we go. It'll be Wyatt Bird deep along with Marquise Johnson. And this game is underway. Line drive kick, and that'll be Marquise at about the 15. Finds a hole, runs into his own blocker. That was DeMarco Owens, and will get to about the 29-yard line. All right. Richmond will be led by Drew Van Vliet, 49 of 104. His passing percentage is only at 47. They'd really like to see that number come up. He has thrown for 680 yards, 7 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions. But I remind you again, he's only a freshman. He's got a long, long way to go and a growing quarterback at 6'4". Richmond will work pretty much out of the shotgun. Wyatt Bird gets the call first and gets about a yard. So it'll be 2nd down and 9. Defensively up front for Newcastle, Trenton Round, Bailey Melton, Dylan Floyd, along with Jamorian Taylor. Taylor will be at the linebacker spot. D-Ray Ford will be at the left defensive end spot. And then you have, again, Taylor, Lentz, Beck, and Bell as the linebackers. 2nd down. And this time, Wyatt goes no place. He is hit immediately as the Trojans playing the run early. Number 56 coming in to make the stop. That'll be Trenton Round. And so really for the Trojans, and I would too. I'll tell you what, if I'm Newcastle, I'm thinking to myself, I'm going to make you throw the football. You're not going to beat us. If we're going to take something away, it's going to be Wyatt Bird.
Yeah. Like especially with the first play, barely getting a yard and then getting stopped on that previous play. They just got to find a way to utilize him, and I don't think it's up the hole.
Bird the lone setback, and Van Vliet will throw and nearly picked off. Wow, that was close, and that might have been a pick 6. That was Taylor, the linebacker, at the 30-yard line, and let me tell you what, there was nobody there to get him if he intercepts that one.
Right, and I just from looking at that, I think Van Vliet just had pressure. I would say he's
probably pretty nervous early.
Yeah.
So the Trojans will get the football. Regal is one of the 2 deep men. High in the air and a very good punt as this one gets inside the 20 and takes a Richmond bounce. How about that one? All the way down to the 11-yard line.
Spectacular punt.
So add 23, 33 onto that one, along with another 10, 20, 30 yards. You're talking about a 67-yard punt?
Yeah.
Gage Pewterbaugh, unofficially 67 yards on the punt, and so the Trojans will see their offense for the first time tonight. William Greaser this year, 1,768 yards, 19 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. He will play a lot with an empty backfield. Richmond will use 1 down lineman, and they're going to show blitz already. Will Richmond stay with the 4 rushers? There's some moving up front. I say stay with the 4 because generally the Red Devils do not go with just 1 down lineman. They're generally 4 and sometimes a stand-up outside defensive end, but never do they go with 1 down lineman. So the penalty against the Red Devils, that was Blaine Pierce, number 64, who jumped off sides. 10:20 to go in the opening quarter. This is the Trojans' first time with the football here tonight. Greaser to throw. Ball caught on the sideline, brought down at about the 21-yard line. DeMarco Owens over there to help make the stop. That was Regal on the reception. 22 receptions coming in for Regal. I'll be curious to see what the Trojans do when they do run the football. Since they run so many 5 wide, who's going to be in the backfield the most? Will it be Regal? Will it be Durick? 2nd down and 1 after a gain of about 4 on the pass play. So the Trojans again with an empty backfield. Greaser again a left-handed thrower. Ball caught, short pattern, and that'll be a first down at the 25. And that's one thing about it. If you're a Red Devil defense, and by the way, that was Gabbard on the reception, you could get picked apart by this guy. And that's the frustrating part about playing defense against a 5 wide is they just boop, 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 dump it all over the place.
Yeah, especially on the slant play, just making it look easy.
So it'll be first down and 10, 9:21 to go in the opening quarter. Trips to the near side, 2 receivers to the right, empty backfield. Greaser to throw again. Ball will be caught, single coverage on the far side. Sakai Maitland there to make the stop, but that'll be at the 30-yard line, and that may have been Regal again on the reception. Now, here's the thing that I give Newcastle credit for, too. I'm going to tell you right now, be careful at your corners because they will play this little dump game, and then all of a sudden they're going to send somebody deep. They're going to try to put you to sleep right here. Here comes the pressure again. Another pass to the near side right at the hash mark. It'll be another first down. That'll be Gabbard on the reception. Gabbard just a sophomore. Now we mentioned this left-handed quarterback in the way he can throw the football. But so far, when you look at what he's doing, he's taking command of this offense early here in the first quarter. Trips to the right. Here comes the blitz. He'll cut to the near side and driven out of bounds. Red Devil defense showing blitz that time. That's something we thought they might do.
Yeah, especially, I mean, they just got to him. And even though he kept it to himself and tried to get a couple extra yards, he soon realized that he had to go all the way to his left and didn't get a gain on it.
Ball's at the 35, so that'll be a loss of a yard. 2nd down and 11. Stopping the clock at 8:13, and now this will be really interesting on the near side because you see the 3 receivers right there all bunched up. Hash mark to the left. Here come the Red Devils again. Quick hitter to the far side, and Sakai Maitland, did he get him down? No. 50, 45, 40, 35, 30. Here comes help from behind, and that'll be a huge play for the Trojans. And once again, Regal on the big reception. Now looked like Sakai Maitland had him down, but Regal put his hand down and stayed in bounds and stayed on his feet.
Yeah, that was a lot of determination by Regal, especially he didn't go down hard.
Well, that's one thing about it. You got to make sure you got the tackle.
Yeah.
So now the Trojans, after a big pass play, down to the 15-yard line, trying to score first here tonight. They'll throw to the end zone, and that'll be out of reach. No flags are down that I can see. Pass intended for number 30, Brandon Matney. Red Devils had coverage there. Looked like that might have been number 18 for the Red Devils, Vincent Narcisse, and it was. Stopping the clock at 7:54. Well, the other thing that hurt you about that pass play is you thought maybe somebody else would have come over, and you got to play to the whistle. That's it. You cannot just give up on a play and think it is dead. They'll throw again. High and out of play. That's the first incomplete pass of the night. It was intended for Regal once again, but for William Greaser, that's his first incomplete pass of the night.
Yeah, it was interesting. They had number 22 up in the middle. He was open. And I mean, that would have been easily a touchdown. But he decided to go into the corner.
They have, as we said earlier, they have thrown over the middle. So, and by the way, when he throws over the middle, William Greaser, he puts some sting on it too. So don't think he just lobs it in there.
Right.
But he's got nice touch to the outside. Third down now for the Trojans. This time a little bubble screen. And it's going to be well shy of a first down as we get down to about the 12 or 13 yard line. Ball caught once again by Regal. And looks like we may see the special teams unit come on and attempt an extra point, or a field goal. Or are they going to go for it? I think they're going to go for it. I was watching their kicker. He was doing fine. I mean, a guy with a pretty strong leg, but the Trojans say, you know what, 4th down and 7, and we're going to go for it right here. Trips to the left side. A lot of room on the right now for Greaser. Will they go for the end zone or go for the first down? They're going to go for the end zone, and that's overthrown. An uncatchable football, and the Red Devil defense survives the big play.
Yeah, it was really interesting. When you mentioned that their kicker is good, I mean, he's able to do it. Why didn't they go for the 3 early?
I don't know. That's who knows? Maybe they know their kicker. I know better than you or I, but I mean, I'm a little bit curious why they didn't try the field goal first. I think this also shows that they have a lot of confidence in their defense too.
Yeah.
Skylar Stevenson was the young man that I was watching, a senior watching in warm-ups, and he was doing an excellent job. So the Red Devils with the second time with the football. That'll be Eli Irvin on the catch. It wasn't a great throw, but he made the turn, makes the catch, and it'll be brought down at about the 21-yard line.
Yeah, extra effort by Eli Irvin, especially trying to reach out his arm, bring it in, and secure the ball and just get the extra couple yards.
You know, the one guy who has not been as active offensively consistently was Marquise Johnson. I think he's one guy you really want to try to get the ball in his hands a little bit more.
Yeah, especially early on in the season. I mean, he's just a red zone threat.
Yeah. Single coverage to the near side. Wyatt Bird on the carry. Wyatt may get a couple. They are really keying on the run. Lane Nicholson, number 19, in there, the strong safety of the first one in there. Red Devils did get the first down at the 24-yard line. 6:15 remaining in the opening quarter. Get an update on some of the other games around the area. We'll let you know. Van Vliet to throw. Johnson near side, dropped it. Well, we have seen Marquise a couple of times this year have a ball right there and drop it. So he's had some drop issues, but boy, that's a catch you got to make. I'm a little surprised he just doesn't lay out and go get it.
Yeah, and especially he had the defender beat.
Yeah.
I mean, you could just see him chugging along the sideline. I mean, if he would have caught it, that could have been a touchdown.
It'll bring up 2nd and 10 on that incomplete pass.
So now the Red Devils with 2nd down and 10. Try to remember if it was the Anderson game in which he had a couple of balls right on the end of his hands at the fingertips and dropped it. Red Devils will go 4 wide, trips to the short side. Here is Wyatt. Wyatt 25-30, and he gets cut down out of bounds at about the 35-yard line, and that'll be a Red Devil first down. Wyatt Bird, 59 carries against Anderson. If you remember that weather at Anderson, raining, windy, nasty. On one end of the field, it looked like the wind was swirling, and the other end, the wind was going straight across. It was just not a fun night of football.
Right. And just looking at Wyatt Bird, I mean, this could potentially be his last game. Just think about how much he has to prove.
Yeah.
I mean, just for his legacy here.
Yeah, over 1,000 yards this year, hoping to get another weekend as Van Vliet will tuck and under and head to the sideline, and I think he got right back to the line of scrimmage. There for the Trojans again, Lane Nicholson. So that'll stop the clock at 5:50. We'll put it at the 36. So it'll be 2nd down and 9. Cool evening here tonight. Great crowd has showed up for the Newcastle Trojans. The Red Devil crowd got better as the night began to wear on, and so the Red Devil crowd showing up here this evening. Red Devils now with, again, 2nd down and 9. That is John Carter all the way to the far side. Here come the Trojans. Aquavian Allen trying to get to the outside. Aquavian to the 40.
Yeah, that was a nice run to the outside. I mean, we've seen early on that if they run up the middle, they're just going to be met with defenders. Just utilizing the speed on the outside, you just got 5 yards there.
Yeah, Quavian, by the way, had a pretty good ball game last week. Had one run, I think it was over a 70-yard touchdown called back on a play that when they went back and looked at the film, it was a Kokomo player that hit a Richmond player, and the Red Devil player was just trying to get him off of him.
Yeah.
And they called it back. So Quavian would have had 3 touchdowns last week. 5:08 to go. Now the Red Devils go empty backfield themselves. Ball caught. That'll be Eli Irvin, and he may have got the first down. He stretched out to the 45 and got it. Eli Irvin has been a guy who has been kind of underrated this year. You look at John Carter, Eli Irvin, I think 2 guys that are very sure-handed. I think when they get into next year, you're going to see those guys along with Marquise Johnson be more of a threat overall. They can really spread the football around. Guiley is in. That's Guiley, one of the 3 receivers to the left. Here is Wyatt, nowhere to go as he's brought down at the 45. Coming off the bottom of that pile, number 44, Matt Bell, the linebacker, 6 foot, 188 pounds.
2nd down and 10.
You would think, we talked about this earlier, the Trojans, when they played teams like New Pal, if anybody beats New Pal this year, I'll jump off this press box because they're that good. But they play Pendleton, Delta, as you said, New Pal. The top of their conference is a beast.
Yeah.
3:57 to go. That's Bird in motion. Quick pass. Intercepted. And stepping in front of Marquise Johnson is the linebacker doing it again. That's going to be, the strong safety, Lane Nicholson, number 19, to make the interception. And so the first turnover of the ball game, and the Trojans stop the drive for the Red Devils.
Yeah, I think just Van Vliet was just trying to, obviously the play action there, but he was just trying to deliver it way too quickly, and the defense just read it like a book.
Well, I'll tell you what, give Nicholson credit because he stepped right in front of Johnson on that little crossing pattern. And now the Trojans get it back at 3:51 to go. An excellent field position. They'll throw again. Ball will be dropped. That'll be Regal again. He would have only gotten about a yard out of it. So it'll be 2nd down and 10. That'll be the 9th interception on the year now for Drew Van Vliet. I guess the only thing I can think is that whoever the corner was forced Johnson to the inside. He never even saw the safety there on that pass. Or the pass was far enough ahead of Johnson, he couldn't get to it. Greaser will come to the near side. Ball caught. And the gain to about the 40. That'll be Cooper Rush on the reception for the Red Devils. Vincent Narcisse, the senior. So 3rd down and about 4. I don't know about you, but this type of offense can wear you down when you're thinking about Richmond blitzing and trying to cover one-on-one to the outside. Tipped and almost intercepted by Eli Irvin. Oh, wow. So close.
Incomplete pass
Right
by
there.
Newcastle. Brings up 4th down and 4.
But what is really impressing me from this new Newcastle offense is it's short passes.
Yeah.
But it's the extra effort by the receivers that is really making the difference.
Yeah, that time it looked like Regal again got a hand on it, but anytime you tip a football, the one thing that generally happens, it gets picked off. So now it'll be 4th down and 4. The Trojans, the second time they'll go for it on 4th down. Quick pass to the near side. Is it caught? Yes. And it's going to be a 1st down. That's Regal, or is it number 8, Rush? It's going to be Rush on the 1st down. So that's what that little short pattern can do for you. If you need a 4-yard gain, that'll get you. You force that defensive back or the corner to play off a little bit more.
Yeah.
So it'll be 1st down and 10, 3 minutes remaining. Greaser to throw again, a little bubble screen to the outside. Running room at the 30, down to about the 26. That'll be Matney once again, the 6'5 junior. Matney can play either tight end or wide receiver. Has got some great size. That's a big target to throw to. Matney, you see him coming now to the near side. Trojans will go trips to the left. They'll run a little H-back now on the right side. 2nd down and 2. Greaser to throw. Pumps, now tucks it under himself, has room. Will get cut down, but not until he gets another 1st down near the 17-yard line. So Red Devils are playing single coverage on the outside. Their safeties are reading and hoping that they can figure out where Greaser's going to try to throw the football. But the biggest problem is right now you play the single coverage. If you have those receivers cutting to the inside, you're going to let the guy go so far and then let your strong safety or free safety take over. So the Red Devils showing blitz once again, but there's a flag down. Now you can blitz, and I think it's a good game plan, but you better get to him sometimes.
Yeah. And I mean, with Greaser, I mean, it's split seconds. It's like once he gets the ball, it's out of his hands.
Yeah.
It's like magic.
Magic. That'll be a penalty against the Trojans, some movement up front. And that's just it. Again, it's a gamble if you're going to blitz a quarterback, because if he's that quick with it, and he is, as we talked about already, the Red Devils are gambling that they can get to him, and so far that has not been the case. After the 5-yard penalty, 5 wide again, trips to the near side, quick release to the sideline, ball caught, and they will say he is inbounds. That'll be Matney once again, and that's just it. So if you play up on, if the corners play up on the receiver, and if Greaser reads that, they can make a move and he can go deep. So you really got to kind of play back on these guys. And that's enabling Greaser to throw it short.
Yeah.
1:19 remaining. Trojans, 2nd time they've been in the red zone. Greaser to throw again, ball caught at the 10 and down to the 6-yard line. That's Durick. Durick, 36 receptions coming in with 5 touchdowns. So now the Trojans have it 1st and goal. We'll put it at the 6. Hear the fans from Richmond trying to get their defense going here. Greaser again out of the shotgun, 5 wide. They've gone empty backfield the entire time, and that one thrown to the back shoulder, but off the mark. It was intended there for Matney.
I'm curious if Matney was supposed to turn around sooner, because it looked like he was like, that ball was already gone, and Matney just didn't turn around yet.
You know, I think you got a point there. I'm not so sure that Greaser was not trying to throw toward the cone, the pylon instead of, and I think that's where the ball went. But Matney might have gone a step or two too far. 2nd down and goal. 45.6 seconds remaining. Jumping up front again, and there's another yellow flag going down. Now, will this be on the Red Devils? Yes, it is. Half the distance to the goal line.
Offsides on Richmond.
Well, the one thing about that is you just made it a little bit easier now for the Trojans. Now, here's one thing I should mention here. When you get inside the 10, things get a little tighter. And what I mean by that is you don't have as much room to maneuver.
Right.
So it doesn't really help the Trojans a lot. And the Red Devils are hoping maybe to get to Greaser right here. He's going to throw little fade pattern to the end zone. Ball is caught and then dropped. That's Rush, had the single coverage against Vincent Narcisse. And that'll be 3rd down and 3. Now here's where you like to have a good running attack.
Yes.
If you had a big old burly fullback, one of them the days of Larry Zonkin, the great fullbacks. Get those guys in there and just run people over. But we don't do that anymore. All right, 3rd and 3. You don't remember Larry Zonka, do you?
No, I don't think so.
All right. Little homework for you to do later.
Got it.
Empty backfield, trips to the left once again. Here come the Red Devils. This one in the air and overthrowing his receiver once again. Matney at 6'5". Good defense for the Quakers, Eli Irvin. So now 4th down and 3. And by the way, the Trojans have not had a designed run yet. Now, they've had their quarterback scramble a little bit a couple of times, but they haven't run it, and they're not going to. They believe in the spread offense, and when we say they spread it out, they spread it out. 4th down now and goal, 27.3 to go. Here comes the pressure, and he gets rid of it, and it's going to be caught for the touchdown.
Wow. Wow.
Regal and a teammate of his, Durek, right next to each other, and it was caught by Regal. Touchdown Trojans.
Yeah, because it looked like the Red Devils just got to the quarterback, and then he just threw it up. And, you had the 2 receivers just right there. They were just waiting for it.
That's a great play by Greaser, their quarterback, not only to stay on his feet, but to make the throw. The extra point attempt is on the way. It is good. Trojans strike first. They lead this one 7-0. This is sectional football right here on Radio Troy Digital Sports.
Question. When you walk into the boardrooms of the most successful companies here in Indiana, who do you meet? Answer. Men and women who played high school sports. Education-based high school sports give us more than athletes we can root for. They give us leaders we can depend on. Question. So where will we find tomorrow's leaders? Answer. High school sports.
This message presented by the Indiana High School Athletic Association and the Indiana Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
Trojans had the football one other time in the red zone. This time they go for it on 4th down. And what a throw, and really what a catch, because you had 2 guys there. Either one of them could have caught it, so one of them had to give up on it. But your thoughts about that drive, and boy, nice job finishing it out for the Trojans.
Yeah, like you said, they didn't really utilize any kind of run formation.
None.
Yeah, it was just all, once Greaser got the ball, split second, it got out of his hands, stuck like the sidelines, just picking apart Richmond's defense so far. Going down to the red zone on the 4th down play, when Greaser nearly went down, he tossed it up in the air, and the receiver just got it.
That shows a lot of poise when your quarterback can do that, because you would have a tendency a lot of times just to hold on to the football because you don't want to turn it over for sure. But the bottom line is they've had, I think, for Newcastle, they have a lot of confidence in what their defensive game plan is tonight. And they've gone for it every time on 4th down. A shorter kick. This will be Marquise at the 30, 35, and out to about the 37, 38-yard line, and good field position for the Red Devils. Now, Red Devils had the football a couple of times. They have not yet gotten anything going offensively. Trojans have played the run pretty well. How big is this possession? I know we have 14.6 seconds remaining, but they got to get this offense rolling here.
Yeah, that's extremely huge. They just got traditionally on the run. They cannot run it up the middle against this Newcastle defensive line. They're obviously stopping Bird early.
Yeah. Well, they're playing 7 in the box, sometimes 8 in the box, so they're daring the Red Devils to throw. 14.6 could be the final play of the quarter. Here's Wyatt, and Wyatt gets to the 40. Boy, he got grabbed from behind and brought down. Not sure who that defender was until they come off the pile. Looked like it might have been number 35 who made that stop. That is Dylan Beck. Well, that's going to do it for the opening period of play. Red Devils offense struggling early. Newcastle getting on the board first. We'll come back with the second quarter in a moment. This is Richmond football right here on Radio Troy Digital Sports.
They're the 3 sweetest words a sports fan can utter.
I was there.
Like when Luke Zeller drained that miracle buzzer beater from center court to win the state championship.
I was there.
Indiana high school basketball. There's only one way to experience the passion, the intensity, the surges in momentum, the shots heard round the state, and the shots made from way, way, way downtown.
Luke Zeller at midcourt, puts it up at the buzzer.
And that's to be there, live. The IHSAA Boys Basketball Tournament. When the whistle blows, the drama unfolds, and we're reminded one more time what a great state we live in. Where will you be?
I'll be there. We'll all be there.
The IHSAA Boys Basketball Tournament. Sectionals continue this weekend in Indiana high school gyms everywhere. The IHSAA Boys and Girls Basketball Tournaments are presented by the Indiana Pacers and the Indiana Fever.
By the way, that won't happen for a while yet. We're in football play, not basketball. I'll tell you what, however you want to look at it, we've got a good one going here between the Red Devils and the Trojans. Richmond with the football, 2nd down and 7 now in the second quarter. Here is Wyatt Bird at the 45 and brought down. Hey, that last commercial just gets ready for basketball.
Yeah.
We're not that far away. Girls have started practice.
That'll bring up 3rd down and 3.
Boys will start their practice in about another week and a half, 2 weeks. But we're hoping that the Red Devils can continue on to next week. 3rd down and 3. Hey, we just played the spots. We don't determine what they say. Wyatt Bird, the lone setback. Movement up front. Didn't cross the plane, so they'll give it to Wyatt. Nice hole, 50, 45, 1st down. Brought down near the 43-yard line.
Yeah, that was a nice juke move by Wyatt Bird there.
Well, I think that when you have a young quarterback like Van Vliet, and again, he probably feels a little bit nerves. You've got a senior running back. You've got some guys up front that can block. You've got some size. I think sometimes you just run Wyatt as much as you possibly can. Until they stop it, you keep going to Wyatt Bird. 10:47 to go. I say that. They're going to throw. Van Vliet down the middle. Caught by Marquise at the 20.
Wow.
That's a catch we're talking about.
Yeah. He just brought it down. That's one thing about Marquise is that, he has the speed, but his hands are very important. Especially, just with the deep ball, he's able to bring it down.
Well, that's going to be a gain to the 18-yard line. Nice pass play, though, by Van Vliet. Here is Wyatt. Wyatt trying to get to the 15-yard line and does. Well, that was a nice touch, though. But, by the way, Marquise is not a big guy either. Marquise may go 5'10". Now, that might be a little bit much for Marquise. I don't think he's 5'10". Let's say he's 5'8", 5'9", but that was a great catch.
It was.
You know, the NBA now has decided to use real heights in the rosters. Did you know that? So if you're 6'10", you're 6'10". You can't put the shoes on to be 7 foot. They need to do that everywhere now. 2nd down and 8. Play action pass, and that's going to be dropped. Pass intended for John Carter. Good defense by the Trojans. Might have been Jordan Page. If it wasn't Page, it may have been Taylor. 3rd down and 8. Now, by the way, if the Red Devils don't get first down. Now, Gage Pewterbaugh is a heck of a kicker. I would think they'd take the 3 instead of going for it on 4th down.
They haven't done a whole lot of that this year.
And that's surprising because he's got a strong leg. We have seen him boot that thing from 45 yards out. And that's a flag down. By the way, that is not a yellow hanky.
Game on Richmond.
He has a pink hanky. That'll be a delay of game on Richmond.
I wonder why the pink hanky.
I don't know. Breast cancer awareness, I think.
That makes sense.
Maybe they don't let the officials wear, well, in fact, if 2 of them have pink, the one guy's got the yellow. He's got pink, so most of them have pink. Maybe they're not allowed to wear pink socks or something, so they let him have a pink hanky. 9:43 after the 5-yard penalty, 3rd down and 13. Van Vliet again to throw down the middle and knocked down. That's Carter playing defensive back. He had to knock that ball away from Titus Regal, otherwise Regal would have had an interception. So give credit right there to your receiver to turn into a defensive back right when he had to.
Right.
So now we'll see Gage Pewterbaugh. This will be from the 27-yard line, so a 37-yard attempt. We just talked about how rare it is that Richmond goes for a field goal, and now they're going to get a chance to put 3 on the board right here. Wyatt Bird is the holder. The kick is on the way, and the kick is perfect. Wow. There you go. Red Devils get 3 on the board. We'll take a quick timeout. Red Devils trail this one 7-3.
If you bought a ticket to an IHSAA athletic event last weekend, give yourself a giant pat on the back.
You helped ensure our school has the resources it needs to support our athletic program.
You might have even punched somebody's ticket to a better life.
Yeah, like mine.
So give yourself a big high five.
Yeah.
And thank you.
High school sports.
You pay.
We play.
Everybody wins.
That's right.
This message brought to you by the IHSAA.
7-3 after the Gage Pewterbaugh field goal. We are back here in Richmond at Leibold Field. The winner of this game moving on to the semifinals next week. It'll probably be Mount Vernon. They're playing Connorsville tonight. So far, 2 teams that one averaging 18 points per game, the other one averaging 24, have managed just 7-3 here tonight.
You know, it's 51 degrees out here.
Perfect football weather.
Maybe for them, but not for us.
Hey, the good news is it's not raining. It's not snowing.
Right.
The wind is not blowing much. All right, Trojans will get it back. Squib kick from the 25. There will be a return. Red Devils had against the Kokomo Wildcats squid that ball, in fact, pretty much most of the night. On the return was Durick there for the Trojans. 9:19 remaining here in the second quarter. Am I supposed to be looking at something? Anyone know if Wyatt's playing college football? He is not at the moment. They are sending out tapes, from what I understand, of various colleges. They'll probably get a few more highlights before the end of the season. 1st down and 10. And the Red Devils jump again. Well, the one thing about it, you can be anxious as a defensive lineman or a linebacker, but boy, don't give him 5 yards.
Right.
Jewel Taylor, who I really like as a player, senior, just getting a little anxious.
Yeah.
By the way, Jeff Lawrence is watching from AJ Seafood and Oyster House in Destin. I wish I were there eating the seafood. Trojans will have it 1st and 5. Quick hitter to the near side, 40. out to about the 43. That's going to be another first down. On the reception once again, Durick. You know, it'd be nice during our games here that somebody bring us some seafood.
I know, yeah. Shrimp.
What do we get? We get pizza. I want seafood. I know it's good pizza, but I want some seafood now. 9:06.
Almost reminds you of the pizza.
Pizza. That's
Little
right.
Caesars, yeah.
1st and 10. Trojans trips to the left, single coverage on each receiver, and it's knocked down. Good job on the near side.
I believe that's Eli
Irvin. Yeah, there for the Red Devils. One thing about that, better take that flag off there, huh? One thing about that, as the defensive back, you really have to anticipate if it's going to be another short pattern. That's what's really the challenge tonight for these corners and these safeties. But we haven't seen the Trojans going deep yet where they've caught the Red Devils off guard. Not that they won't, because I saw them do it last week. Greaser to throw. Ball caught. Broken tackle and back to the 46.
I hear some hecklers in the crowd.
It's a rough crowd.
It's a rough crowd.
Yeah. They didn't try the veal on Thursday, so. 3rd down and 7. You ever been to a comedy club and they heckle you? That's what you're getting right here.
Oh, yeah.
You tell some bad jokes, they're all over you.
A lot of times they'll just bite you right back.
That's right. 3rd down and 7. 8:14 remaining here in the second quarter. Trojans again 5 wide. Greaser to throw. There it is. He's going to go deep to the sideline, but that's too far. Out of reach. Intended for Matney. Now, we just said that right there. They do this, and then boom. They're going to try to catch you and see if you can fall asleep.
Yeah.
Now the Trojans 4th and 7.
I think you were talking about in the pregame that Greaser will throw the ball ahead of the receiver to make him run for it.
Well, and they've got the speed to get it. But you saw right there the defensive back got beat. Safety didn't get over in time, but it was a fortunate situation for the Red Devil defense that the pass was too long. Now there's a player in the backfield, but Greaser's going to punt it himself. Nobody back for the Red Devils, anticipating that perhaps it would be another 4th down and the Trojans would go for it. So they punt for the first time. 7:53 to go. Are going to get the football back.
You never see that nowadays. The quarterback punts the ball.
Never. And I'm not sure that he's their regular punter. Did they put him on the... Yeah, see, Matney's their normal punter, so that's something you don't see again very often. So football will be at the 24-yard line.
Because I was curious to why they were going to go for it. I'm thinking, like, are they going to punt? And they did.
Well, if I'm the Trojans right now and you're a football team that is giving up on average 36 points per game, and I have 7 minutes and 53 seconds to go in the first half, and I've held my opponents to 3, I feel pretty good right now. Here's Wyatt Bird on the little pitch, and their run defense has actually played pretty well. They've contained him for the most part. 25-yard line.
That'll bring up 2nd down on that one.
But as I said earlier, I think if I'm the Trojans, my thought process is this. We're going to come into this football game, and if we can stop Wyatt Bird, we feel we have a chance to win this football game, because the Red Devils, from a passing standpoint, this is not a knock against Drew Van Vliet, but again, he's a freshman, and the Red Devils only average 76 yards passing per game. So it's been a run attack that has been their big key so far. And here's Wyatt over the right side, and he was just an ankle away from perhaps busting that one. That was number 19, Lane Nicholson, making the stop. Even though it was a good run, the Red Devils now faced with a 3rd down and 1. Boy, I tell you what, we talk about sports being a game of inches, but Nicholson didn't grab that ankle right there. Might have had a touchdown.
Oh, yeah.
Get that one hand on the shoe. Hand off Wyatt. He got the first down, and he'll get a Couple of extra yards out of it. So now the Red Devils, 6:33 to go here in the second. Nate Smith, 6'5", 225-pound defensive end, there to make the stop. They've got a couple of players on this team, including Nate Smith, number 34. They look like football players. Red Devils fumbling the snap, and Van Vliet will take the loss. And boy, that's a momentum killer right there.
It is.
Small little mistakes that just kind of kill you when you're trying to get a drive going.
I don't know what that noise was.
That was either a backfire or somebody's 1970 Chevy, and that's what it was. There he goes. You ever had those little wind-up cars? You can make them backfire.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he did. It woke a few people up. 5:33. Second down and 15. A little screen pass to Wyatt over the middle. Gets tackled immediately. Ford is there, the defensive end, to make the stop. And now we have two phones over here. Do you know which one's which? Whose phone's got what here? You guys get it together, will you? Is this our phone? Is this the official phone? Josh Brown, legendary intern Josh Fern with you? No. We booted him over to Centerville. Annie has been watching from Idaho for the last couple of years. Great to have you with us again tonight. Van Vliet to throw. Has coverage. Double coverage caught. Marquise Johnson double coverage and makes the reception. How about that?
Marquise with the deep ball.
Second straight. Great catch by Marquise Johnson after dropping the one earlier.
I think I said early on that Marquise was like a red zone, he's a threat. I mean, just down the field.
Yeah, he can stretch the field. He's a deep threat guy, and he proved it right there. Just again, another fine catch and a good throw, but I was kind of concerned that was going into double coverage. Safety came over, made it tough. Van Vliet out here in the flat. Ball's going to be caught, and not much there.
Gabe Crow with the reception.
Gabe doesn't get involved in the offense very much. Generally a guy that you look as a hard hitter, as a corner, and sometimes playing at the safety. 4:03 to go. Wonder how they always ask me how I got from Wyoming to Indiana. I wonder how she got from Indiana to Idaho. It's cold in Idaho.
Or Lawrence to...
Well, he's down in Florida.
Yeah.
Handoff, Wyatt, 25, down to the 21-yard line. Well, the Red Devils right now are mixing it up pretty well. Couple of big pass plays, and Wyatt Bird running the football. 3:20 to go. No mistakes now. You're almost in the red zone, and that's where things really get tight. Van Vliet will give it off to Wyatt. Nice cut up the middle, and he'll be driven down at about the 17.
First down, Richmond.
As anybody will tell you, where your money is made is in the red zone.
Yeah. Seems like they found the method with Wyatt. I mean, at least for right now.
I like the way they're mixing it up.
Yeah.
And I thought that's something we had mentioned. Let's see. We're going to keep an eye on our keys. Let's turn it over here real quick. Ride the Bird. That was one of them. Van Vliet picking them apart. Well, he hadn't done that totally, but he's got a couple of nice plays in there. Van Vliet tossing to the end zone. Carter knocked down at the last second. Jordan Page able to knock it away. Pretty good touch on that football by Drew Van Vliet. Now, the defense, we wanted another performance like last week, and okay, you've held them to 7. I'll take that. Now, Newcastle, they haven't run. Their balance hasn't been there yet, so we haven't seen that.
But they're passing?
Yep, and they've slowed the Richmond scoring offense down. So here's another big play, 2nd down and 10, and Wyatt gets a couple to about the 15. Now it's clock management too here because you have still 3 timeouts remaining. 2:27 to go, and this time the Trojans, I believe, called the timeout. So Newcastle's going to call the timeout right here. We'll take a quick timeout as well as the Red Devils trailing this one 7-3.
Meet Josh.
Hi, everybody.
Josh is a high school basketball player, solid shooter, great teammate.
Hey, don't forget my tenacious D.
And he's my son.
Oh.
So, what does Josh do to be the best basketball player he can be?
I play tennis.
Studies show that student athletes here in Indiana who play more than one high school sport are more likely to excel. Tennis does more than improve Josh's conditioning. It gives him a fresh competitive outlet, reduces the risk of injury by cross-training, and introduces him to different coaching techniques and new friends.
Don't get me wrong, hoops are my first love. Tennis just gives me a little break.
So when the new season begins, Josh isn't burned out on basketball. He's eager to play. And you can see the difference in his game.
This message presented by the Indiana High School Athletic Association and the Indiana Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
All right, big play right here. 3rd down and 9 for the Red Devils. 2:25 to go. Van Vliet to throw, has time, and everybody covered downfield. He takes it himself, gets back to the line of scrimmage. They may be nice and give him a half a yard, and so Gage Puterbaugh will come in again, I think. Did somebody call a timeout? I don't see if it was the Trojans or the Red Devils. Maybe in the Red Devils calling the timeout right here. By the way, we have to apologize to Annie. Caught a game we were covering 2 years ago, started watching every week, never been to Indiana. Well, Annie, now's your invitation. Come on out to Indiana sometime. But do it when it's warm.
Yeah, not in the winter.
Yeah.
Very indecisive.
See, I can relate to Annie because Wyoming's a lot like Idaho. There's a lot of mountains and a lot of cold.
So you've never been there, so I wouldn't know.
I've never been to Idaho, but it's cold.
I've been to Florida. It's nice down there.
Oh, I know.
Especially near the Gulf.
Puterbaugh from the 21, so this will be a 31-yard attempt, a low snap. The kick is a line drive kick, and I think he missed it. Line drive to the left, and I think it all came down there, Ryan. It was not a good snap. By the time that Wyatt got it set down, laces out, and he did not get him out the way he needed to, so it went wide.
Right.
So the Red Devils leave 3 on the board right there and will give the Trojans the football back. So Newcastle still meeting the one goal I think they needed to here tonight, and that was to slow down Richmond's scoring. And they have done that. By the way, at halftime, we'll have the commissioner's report from the IHSAA. Greg Rakestraw doing the commissioner's report this week. Richmond jumped again. Now, we said the little things always make a difference in tournament play, and it does. You cannot make mistakes.
Offsides on the Red Devils.
Though you say, well, a 5-yard penalty right here shouldn't hurt too much. I don't know. I tell you what, they can score, and if they can get one big play, that's what a spread offense can do for you. And they're going to go back to 5 wide again, and they do run this offense very well. Kyle York, their head coach. Greaser fakes the pass. This time takes it himself. He's going to get a first down. Now, I think that was a design keeper by the quarterback, William Greaser.
Ball placed on the 32-yard line.
He really didn't take a look that long before he decided to tuck it under and run himself. Under 2 minutes now remaining here in the second. Greaser to throw. Ball caught. 35-40, 45-50. That's a big gain there for the Trojans. Number 22 making the catch. That'll be Durek. Well, that's a good touch there by Greaser, too. He laid it right where it had to be, caught it in stride.
Ball on the 50-yard line, first down.
You know what it reminds me of?
Me?
Not you.
Don't tell me Tom Brady either. 1:30 to go in the first half. Greaser, here comes the pressure, and he goes down. Boy, the one thing you probably do there if you're Greaser, get rid of it. Throw it to the sidelines. All the way back to the 40. That'll be a loss of 10. Now they're going to give him a yard to the 41, so that'll be a loss of 9.
And that was the first time that Richmond's gotten to Greaser tonight, right?
Yep, it is. That's the first sack. 1:05 to go. Trojans trying to get on the board before the end of the first half. Greaser down the middle, and his receiver was there, but overthrows Matney. Now, what you saw right there is the Red Devils had Narcisse as your corner. When he came back inside, Narcisse gave him up to the safety. Problem was, safety didn't get over in time.
Yeah.
Now, we saw last week where Jack Guiley got over and knocked one away on the far side of the field, but that time he was behind. If that pass is on target, that's 6 points. Third down now and 19. They'll look to throw again. Greaser pumps and then gets to the end zone. It will be forced out of bounds. Jake Haynes, the linebacker there for the Red Devils, forcing him out of play and stops the clock at 49.3 seconds. And will put the football at the 42, and it'll be fourth down. Marquise Thomas will be the deep man for the Red Devils. Now, the thing is, we saw Greaser line up like this before, and he punted it away, but they're going to talk about it, so a timeout. And that'll be one left now for Newcastle. Again, at halftime, the commissioner's report will run down the first half. Right now, not a whole lot to run down, just 10 points combined on the board. We'll see if we can check out some of the other scores. And if we get a chance, we'll see what's happening in college football and the NFL this weekend. Your Patriots.
Go against the Cleveland Browns.
Undefeated.
Yes. One of only two teams, the Niners, Patriots.
Perhaps Jimmy Garoppolo back against the Patriots in the Super Bowl is what you're probably hoping, huh?
Jimmy G, yeah. It's great. Both teams have, like, wonderful defense.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. For some, well, listen, we know why the Patriots are generally good. Is they just have a good coach, good organization, and a guy from Michigan is their quarterback.
Yeah.
49.3 seconds remaining. Trojans see if they punt it away right here as Marquise Johnson is deep, and he will punt this one. Marquise from the 21. Marquise, good speed. Flag is down. That's going to go against Richmond. 50-45. And a nice return, but it'll be negated by a block in the back by Eli Irvin. Boy, what hurts about that is the play was in front of Eli, and yet he's still blocked in the back. That, you know, sometimes, and again, we got to remember they're just high school kids, but you always got to know that if the guy's going to be in front of you, don't do anything. Just get away from it. I know you want to do the right thing and get a good block right there if you can, but that's going to cost the Red Devils a nice return. And I know we have 33.9, but again, that's just another mistake the Red Devils cannot make. We are waiting for the... Oh, no.
Ooh.
We do not allow any Buckeye references on the live chat. You know what? I have a feeling that Ohio State's going to kick Michigan around at the end of the year. Michigan is not playing well. They are not throwing the ball the way they said they were going to, and it is really torquing me off.
It's interesting. I see a lot of crazy reactions, especially from this other organization that does like a lot of blogs, Barstool Sports. Their head, Dave Portnoy, had a lot of reactions. He's a big Michigan guy.
Here's a reverse, a double reverse. Now it'll be Johnson. Johnson 40 and brought down inbounds. Good play for the Red Devils, 24.2, and I think Richmond will call a timeout right here. Each team should have one timeout remaining.
First down, Richmond on that 27-yard run.
I think the scoreboard says Richmond has 2. So we'll put one more back up there for the Red Devils, and the Trojans have no timeouts remaining. Now Richmond held to 3 points here in the first half against a team that is giving up, as we said, 38 points per game, 36. So if I'm the Trojans, I feel really good about how my defense has played here tonight. I don't think the Red Devils overall played poorly. They just, for whatever reason, can't seem to get it in the red zone and do something with it. But give credit to that Trojan defense as well. Again, the Red Devils still have 2 timeouts remaining. Richmond trips to the right, 2 receivers, so they show a little Newcastle offense right here with an empty backfield. Van Vliet to throw, looking near side. Flag is down. Carter can't bring it in. The flag is back to the 45. See if that'll be on the Trojans. Holding against Newcastle. You go back, I don't know how many games ago, where the flag, I don't remember which one it was. Oh, Lafayette Jeff game. The hanky came out. I don't remember. Were you here that night? Because they threw it like every other play.
Yeah, yes, I was.
It was like they had to get some exercise of throwing the flag. And I mean, the Broncos had probably 3 touchdowns brought back because of penalty flags.
Yes.
19 seconds now for the Red Devils. First down and 10. Football again at the 42 of Newcastle. Van Vliet, empty backfield. Looking this side, and Carter had it for a moment, then dropped it. Good defense by the Trojans. That'll be Jordan Page. Ball right there at the same time Page got there, and it'll be now 3rd down. 14.4. We talk about in football clock management at this point. The Red Devils still have the 2 timeouts. You can work the sideline, especially with a hash mark on the left where the football is located right now. Aquavian Allen is the man in motion. They'll fake the handoff to Aquavian. The ball goes deep, and it's over the head of Carter. Carter was coming to the inside. Van Vliet threw to the outside. 9.9 to go.
I think at this point, just a smart decision to just take a shot to the end zone.
Yeah, I tell you what, and in fact, yeah, with 9.9, take a shot to the end zone. You could, now, you're kind of in a tough situation right here with just 9.9 seconds left because you're still 42 yards away. Van Vliet has a strong enough arm to get it there. Now, you could look at it, too. Let's say, and maybe if we get good protection here, let's get it to the 25. But they got the play clock down to 1, and they got the timeout. So they barely get the timeout as the play clock got down to 1. Now, I'm not sure why they ran any time off of the game clock, though. It was at 9.9. Now it's at 9.5. And that was an incomplete pass. So why did time come off the clock?
I'm curious to see if it'll go back.
Now, I know it's only
4/10.
400ths of a second, right? Is it 4/10 or 400ths?
4/10.
4/10 or hundredths? 4/10 of a second.
You're having me think outside of school.
I am. That's what we're here for, to help youth of America. So 4/10 of a second. Now in basketball, that probably doesn't make too much of a difference right here, but in basketball, you could catch and shoot. You could tip at the rim at 4/10 of a second. All right, so they didn't put it back on the clock. So it will stay at 9.5. Wyatt Bird back in as the running back. Red Devils with trips to the right, hash mark again to the left. Van Vliet out of the shotgun. They'll play it safe, give it to Wyatt. He'll be brought down with 6.2, and Richmond calls their timeout right there, so they will have no timeouts remaining. Well, at this point, I think you are now looking at end zone stuff at 6.2. If I'm the Trojans, I play deep center field, and then I make sure Wyatt's not going to break loose on me either. So.
Right. Even if they get a completion midfield, they're not going to have enough time to, go and spike the ball.
Josh wants Gage to hit a 50-yard.
That'd be amazing.
Well, I know that. I'll take 50 yards out.
Dude, this crowd go wild.
So now we await what the Red Devils will do right here. .2 to go in the first half. That is Carter in motion. He'll throw the football. And that's going to be tipped in the air, knocked away. .5 remaining.
Wow.
It was intended for Marquise Johnson. I think you're right now. I think you just kneel on the football, go to the locker room. Don't take a chance on maybe getting a pick six. Fumble the football. Just don't want anything bad to happen right here.
I mean, it did look like number 21, Gabe Crow, top of your screen came in. So, I mean, in case that happens, obviously you mentioned he's a very heavy hitter.
Well, I'll tell you what, Richmond's not going to just sit on it. They're going to throw the ball, and there is a whole lot of bodies around that football. It's going to be knocked down, intended for Marquise. Don't get a penalty right here either, and that's going to do it for the first half. Trojans holding the Red Devils to just 3 points in the first half of play. We're going to take a break. We will come back in just a moment right after the president's report. How about the commissioner's report? We'll do that coming up next right here, Radio Troy Digital Sports.
Question. When you walk into the boardrooms of the most successful companies here in Indiana, who do you meet? When you're working for a mover and shaker with strong ties to our community, who are they? When you encounter a group of people eager to roll up their sleeves, who are you most likely to work with? Answer: men and women who played high school sports. Education-based high school sports give us more than athletes we can root for. They give us leaders we can depend on. Taking the initiative, being a good teammate, sacrificing personal glory for the greater good. These are qualities we expect of our leaders, and they're all being cultivated in the high schools right here in Indiana. Question: so where will we find tomorrow's leaders? Answer: high school sports.
This message presented by the Indiana High School Athletic Association and the Indiana Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association. Sportsmanship doesn't happen just on the court or on the field or on the mat. It doesn't happen only in the pool or on the green or the track. It also happens in the stands, on the sidelines, on the web, and at home. That's because sportsmanship is everyone's responsibility. We remind you to practice good sportsmanship at all high school sporting events. Treat athletes and officials with respect during competition and especially in social media. And support your team's coaching staff. Remember, sportsmanship has a face. Yours. A message from your high school and the Indiana High School Athletic Association. The debate about sports specialization by high school athletes continues. Some argue that high school athletes who play one sport all year long have a better chance of landing a lucrative pro contract. But that's simply not true. In fact, 30 of the 32 first-round picks in last year's NFL draft played more than one sport in high school. Of the 32 players drafted, 22 also participated in high school track and field. 19 also played basketball. Some also played baseball and lacrosse. What's the path to success for high school athletes here in Indiana, no matter what their goals might be? Study hard, always do your best, and if you can, play more than one sport in high school. This message presented by the Indiana High School Athletic Association and the Indiana Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association. It's time for the Commissioner's Corner, an exclusive weekly update from the IHSAA Commissioner himself, Bobby Cox. Now for the inside scoop on what's happening day to day with the IHSAA. Here's Coach Bob Lovell with Commissioner Bobby Cox.
In for Bob Lovell, this is Greg Rakestraw, but the star of the show is with us, and that is the commissioner of the IHSA, and Bobby Cox. Hello, my friend.
Hello, Greg. How are you today?
I'm doing great. I hope you're doing well. You don't have much of a choice because you're too busy not to be doing anything else other than well during the month of October. Let's see, this past weekend, and including this weekend as well, you've got like 6 or 7 different state tournaments going on. Does that sound about right?
That's about right. We're very busy. We concluded our flag football championships last weekend at Grand Park in Westfield, and congratulations to the Mooresville Pioneers as our state champion. Great venue, thanks to the city of Westfield and Grand Park for what they do. We also crowned a state tennis champion, Carmel High School, again fighting off North Central 3-2 in a great tennis match, great enthusiasm, great sportsmanship. Always glad to see that occur. And we go right into another weekend of many, many events. We've got the rest of the tennis tournament. Singles and doubles are going to be played this weekend. Cross-country semi-states, soccer semi-states, volleyball regionals. Almost every tournament except football is in vogue right now. So we're busy, and it's a good time to be a high school fan.
All right, no doubt about that. Let's go back to unified flag football. What did you learn? What did you see from a growth standpoint from year one of the tournament to year number 2?
Well, we went up from 24 schools to 37 schools that started in the sectional. So that's a nice increase of growth in our tournament. I saw better organization by all the schools. You got to go through it one year to kind of figure out where to go and how to do things and how to set your teams up. And I saw better organization, great enthusiasm as always. The opportunity for kids with and without intellectual disabilities to play together and represent their school is a very special opportunity, and very pleased with how it all turned out. Great venue, and I think we'll probably go back there for years to come. The folks there at Grand Park did a great job. The field worked out well. There was another event going on in the facility at the same time, and we actually had some people bleed over and come over and watch flag football from the other event. So I thought it was a really good day, and I think we can learn from that. We'll have a post-event meeting with the folks up at Grand Park coming up next couple of weeks and look to the future.
How would you describe the partnership that you have built now with Special Olympics of Indiana?
Well, it's a tremendous partnership. It started over 7 years ago. It was an outgrowth of our student advisory committee when I challenged those young people to give back to their communities and find an organization that's in all 92 counties, just like our membership is, and be able to give back and go back to your community for what they've given you, the opportunity to play for your school and all the things that the school does for you. And so that partnership has grown. We have 4 unified sports. 2 are sponsored by the IHSA. 2 are sponsored by Special Olympics. We have track and field and flag football. They have bocce and bowling. the goal that their former president and CEO, Mike Furnish, and I had at the beginning of this conversation was to ensure that we have an opportunity for these young people to play in every season of the IHSA school year. So fall, winter, and spring, we have something for those kids to participate in, and it continues to grow. Our Champions Together program has touched over 165 schools, and I'm sure that there'll be more to come in the years following. And I'm very pleased and very humbled by how we've grown our inclusion of our students with intellectual disabilities, and the opportunity for them to represent their school is very special.
All right, a quick word about tennis, because, again, the team state championship, as you mentioned, took place on Saturday, but the individuals, as far as singles and doubles, all are still going. Those will wrap up this weekend on Friday and Saturday. What is it like having those two concurrent tournaments run together?
Well, it's a unique tournament, because the way the singles and doubles works is if you go undefeated at the number one singles position or the number one doubles position once you enter the tournament, you can continue to advance even if your team doesn't go. And so it's kind of a unique tournament. So when you get to the regional, you're going to have some singles and doubles play as well at that team regional. Same thing's true at the semi-state and at the state. So those teams that are undefeated at the state now go on and they play in this tournament this weekend. We have 9 doubles teams that are undefeated going from the sectional forward now to this coming weekend. And so it's a great tournament. It's a great opportunity to watch these really good tennis players play, and fun to watch, and we hope that we have some good weather and we can get it done outdoors.
All right, sounds good. Now, while we have state championships next weekend in cross country as well as soccer, and the following weekend in volleyball, and you've already mentioned kind of where those tournaments are in terms of their path to a state championship, football begins for 1A through 4A, and for just a couple of schools in 5A. It is now a 6-week gauntlet for football going forward from this Friday. Your thoughts about the start of the state football tournament?
Well, I've always said I think the state football tournament is the toughest tournament to win. You got 6 weeks, first of all. You got so many bodies out there. Some kid can get hurt. You got weather to deal with. You got differing surfaces to deal with. There are a lot of varying factors, and the tournament to me seems wide open. As I've gone around the state and watched football this fall, there are some really good football teams across all classifications, and I don't see really, maybe other than New Pal in 5A, I don't see anybody that's just dominating their classification. And so I think it's going to be a wide open tournament, and I'm looking forward to it. And I know that our kids are looking forward to it, and our fans. We had our pairing show, and great viewership on our pairing show. So I know that we're ready for the football tournament to begin.
Well, I know it's a very busy time of year for you. We'll let you get to it. My friend, as always, thanks for the conversation. I will see you at either a state final or on the tournament trail very soon.
Thank you, Greg. I appreciate it.
The Indiana Football Hall of Fame in Richmond, Indiana was founded in 1973. Its mission is to honor the men and women who have excelled in high school, college, or professional football based on their coaching, athletic ability, citizenship, scholarship, and significant supporting contributions to the game of football. The Indiana Football Hall of Fame includes retrospection from Indiana's prestigious football history from the late 1800s to the present. When you visit the hall, you'll see the names like Weebu Bank, Vegas Ferguson, Newt Rockne, and Lamar Lundy. The Indiana Football Hall of Fame is located at 815 North A Street in Richmond and is open Tuesday through Saturday from 11 a.m. until 5 p.m. There is no entrance fee and donations are appreciated. Take time to visit Indiana football history at the Indiana Football Hall of Fame.
Honey, isn't it amazing?
What?
The sacrifice, the dedication, the grit. I mean, they really set an example, don't they?
Oh, well, no question. Today's high school athletes are truly special.
Not the athletes.
Well, who?
The officials.
Oh.
Today's student athletes are truly special. But there's something pretty great about the men and women who officiate their games, too. Like the way they're giving back to their communities. Officiating is a terrific way to stay in shape, meet new people, and stay connected to the game you love. But the biggest reason of all? We need more qualified high school officials here in Indiana. And without them, the rest of us would have a whole lot less to cheer about. High school games need officials. High school sports need you.
Great call, Ralph. Yeah.
Interested in becoming a licensed high school official? Go to highschoolofficials.com to learn more and begin the application process.
Richmond Community Schools offers rich and diverse learning opportunities in all of our outstanding schools. We offer more educational choices to students than any other school district in our area. Learning today, leading tomorrow.
I'm not worried about being ready for the world.
I just need the world to be ready for me.
We are the best choice. Enroll now.
We're back here at halftime, just a few moments away from getting the second half underway. Real quick, a couple of scores we do have. Heritage Christian is beating Northeastern 21-6. Cecina, by the way, Indianapolis Cecina beating Centerville at halftime 41-0. And the other score that we do know right now, Mount Vernon beating Connorsville 50-0 at halftime. So we pretty much figured out that Cecina is going to move on. Mount Vernon will move on if we get to the scores. We'll get those to you as well. Okay, your thoughts on the first half. Red Devils have played pretty good on defense. The offense seems to be sputtering right now for some reason. Your thoughts on what you've seen?
Well, I mean, first from Newcastle, I mean, their chemistry on their passing game, we haven't seen much of their rushing game.
Yeah.
But for Grisar, just to get the ball and get rid of it immediately.
Yeah.
Especially towards the outside with the receivers, and the extra effort plays on the receivers after they catch the ball. And it's interesting when they get down to the end zone. We've seen during the first time they went for it, it was a no-go.
Yeah.
Making the score 0-0. And then they eventually get back down there, and Richmond nearly got to Grisar.
Greaser, yeah.
And Greaser just lobbed it up and caught it in the end zone.
Well, second half, now we got to find a way. How's Richmond going to get this offense going? Because you know as well as I do, we talked about in the first half that Newcastle's game plan, I think, and I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Stop Wyatt Birding, stop the Red Devils from winning this football game. So now, how did the Red Devils get this thing rolling, though? How did they get Wyatt Bird to the point now where he can be the difference maker and get Richmond some points on the board?
I think they really need to balance out the rushing. I think they're rushing Wyatt Bird a lot. And towards the end of the first half, we saw a lot of success from using Wyatt Bird, especially up the middle, with his aggression, with his agility, getting the extra effort plays, getting the first down. But we need to see more from Van Fleet. We need to see more. He was going downfield more, but it just kept on getting batted down. But we did see a couple of passes to Marquise Johnson that were just spectacular.
But if I'm on the other side of the football, you know what I'm thinking right now? If I'm Newcastle, we'll bend, but we're not going to break. You can throw all those deep passes you want, but you're not getting in the end zone, and so far that has been the case. We'll take our last time out. We'll come back. Second half action coming up right here on Radio Troy Digital Sports.
Question. When you walk into the boardrooms of the most successful companies here in Indiana, who do you meet? When you're working for a mover and shaker with strong ties to our community, who are they? When you encounter a group of people eager to roll up their sleeves, who are you most likely to work with? Answer. Men and women who played high school sports. Education-based high school sports give us more than athletes we can root for. They give us leaders we can depend on. Taking the initiative, being a good teammate, sacrificing personal glory for the greater good. These are qualities we expect of our leaders, and they're all being cultivated in the high schools right here in Indiana. Question. So where will we find tomorrow's leaders? Answer. High school sports.
This message presented by the Indiana High School Athletic Association and the Indiana Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
You know, by the way, for those of you that have tuned in tonight, if the Red Devils do advance, if it is at Mount Vernon, we'll be on the air next week at 6:30. And the kickoff will be at 7 o'clock once again. The other thing I do want to mention that there were a couple of injuries in that Sectional football game. They ended up losing their quarterback and one of their running backs. Wow. And by the way, too, we'll have all the scores for you either later tonight. If you don't want to stay up tonight, we'll have them for you tomorrow. We'll be the only media outlet in Richmond that brings you scores after football games or the next morning. We have the only true sports page in town. We update scores every day. Why did they put another 3 minutes back on the clock again?
Interesting.
Well, they need to both teams ready to go. Let's go. Newcastle's going to get the football. There's no need to put another 3 minutes back on there. Both teams have been out here ready to go.
Yeah, they went out there and now they're going back.
It makes no sense. If you have a certain amount of time on the clock for halftime, put the time on there. Don't run it down and then put another 3 minutes on now because there's no need to. I'm sure both teams are ready to go. It's a cold night. Let's get to playing.
Right.
Now, I know that the two head coaches have gone over and they're meeting with the officials.
And the music comes back on.
Well, again, as I said before, we'll be on the air next week if the Red Devils do advance. We'll have all the scores for you either later tonight, post-game reaction hopefully from this game as well, and we'll have not only the area scores and reaction from other games, but all the sports news, World Series action going on tonight.
Yeah, that's interesting.
College football going on, as we mentioned. You know, the other games, Wisconsin, Ohio State. That's a noon start time tomorrow. Who do you like in that one?
I find that kind of disappointing, though. I mean, it's a very big matchup, and it's at noon. You usually expect that maybe like 3 o'clock, maybe 7 o'clock.
Yeah. Well, apparently they didn't think it was going to be a big matchup between number 4 and number 6. I'll take Ohio State. You have LSU against Auburn tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
That'll be at LSU.
One of the bigger games is Notre Dame and
Michigan.
Yeah.
So there's some big games coming up tomorrow. IU. When does IU play tomorrow? Purdue plays Illinois at noon on the Big Ten Network. Ball State is home against Ohio at 2 o'clock. I just want to see if they have where Indiana is. Miami, Ohio's at Kent State tomorrow.
What about the NFL?
I haven't got down there yet.
Yeah.
I didn't see the Indiana game on there, but I'm sure they will be. NFL coming up this weekend as well. The Jets play at Jacksonville, Philadelphia at Buffalo, Denver at Indianapolis. That is a 1 o'clock start time. Cincinnati takes their winless record on the road at L.A. to play the Rams.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, your New England Patriots in Cleveland, 4:25 Sunday afternoon. Guess who the Monday night game is?
What?
Miami and Pittsburgh.
Oh, yeah.
How about them Dolphins? My Dolphins have tanked it big time from the very beginning. All right, we ran 3 minutes for no reason, so we can stand out in the cold a little bit longer, and now we're ready to go again. It will be Richmond teeing it up at the 40. Trojans all bunched up, anticipating an onside kick, but the Red Devils kicked it deep. Picking it up at the 25, fumbling the football, and it goes out of bounds. Red Devils able to strip it out of the hands of the return man, Titus Rangel. So Rangel nearly gives up the football, but it'll be Trojans.
First down and 10 for the Trojans.
So what did you get out of that 3 minutes? We sat here and did nothing basically, but get some more cold weather.
I know, and it dropped down a single degree.
It's a little chillier now than it was earlier. Red Devils a man short on their defensive line. Now we'll get everybody in. First down and 10 for the Trojans. Greaser to throw, ball tipped in the air. It was a jump ball. Fight for the loose football. Richmond says they have it. Do they? Let's wait and see. Who came away with it?
And it was Richmond.
Yep, Richmond football.
Wow. That's what you would like to see.
No, wait a minute. Yeah, I'm waiting for the one official to decide, no, he's not. They're going to say that's Newcastle football.
What the heck is that ref? That ref gave us false information.
They gave it back to the Trojans. They're going to say that the Trojans had the possession, so it'll be 2nd down and 9 now. They'll say it's a gain of a yard on the pass play, so the Red Devils do not get the interception.
Wow.
Tough call.
I don't know who that ref was.
Greaser will throw. Here come the Red Devils again. Greaser will now tuck it under and run it himself. Well, if the possession, 2 guys are wrestling for the football, I think what they're going to say right there is possession will always go to the offensive guy, and his forward progress was stopped, and so there was no way they were going to allow that to be taken away from him.
Right.
Now, I may not like it either, but I think it was a good call. They just needed to be a little more clear.
Yeah.
Football at the 34. It'll be 3rd down and 5. Red Devils showing blitz. That's Jake Haynes and Jewel Taylor. Pierce, the stand-up defensive end on this side. Coming strong. Here they come. Greaser just chucks this one high in the air. It comes down, and did he make the catch? Yes.
Wow.
Basically a Hail Mary catch by Matney on a ball that was just thrown high in the air, and Matney came down with it, and he is hurt. He may have knocked the wind out of him.
Yeah. Now what a catch, getting both legs and like something you would see in like a ballet.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, he's hurting on the other side. He went down immediately, but I think he may have just knocked the wind out of him. We have seen a couple of nice catches so far tonight by Newcastle receivers. Regal made one earlier, and this time Matney. We have seen the Red Devils do the same thing with Johnson. But, boy, that's unfortunate. The Red Devils able to put a lot of pressure on the quarterback, Greaser, and he's able to get out of there again. Yeah, I think that guy, young man's going to be okay. He just came down right flat on his back, and it knocked the wind out of him. 1st down and 10, 10:36 to go here in the 3rd quarter. They're going to run the football. Wait a minute, what happened? They ran the football for the first time on a designed running back play. That'll be Regal. I'm shocked, yeah.
You know, I don't have my glasses, but that was they actually ran that. Wow.
Yeah, they don't run that very often, but that time they lined it up and Regal ran the football. 1st down and 10, 10:19 remaining. Regal again. And they're going to say they stopped his forward progress at the 35.
That's a run for no gain. Brings up 2nd down.
So let's call it 2nd down and 10. They put Regal in the backfield again, so they've kind of changed their strategy a little bit from going exclusively 5 wide in the first half to now using a tailback in Regal. Regal now split to the near side, so back to the 5 wide. 2nd down and 10. Red Devils, one linebacker blitzing. This one thrown over the outstretched everybody that was there. Nobody able to get to it. Durick was the closest receiver. Tried to stretch the defense down the middle. So it'll be 3rd down and 10. .9:31 remaining now here in this 3rd quarter. Red Devils showing blitz again. That's DeMarco Owens along with Jewel Taylor in the near side. Richmond looks like they're going to bring everybody right here. Regal will run it himself, and that was a mistake. Red Devils had good pressure up the middle. Blaine Pierce is there. Aquavian Allen is there, as is number 52, Jewel Taylor. So now the Trojans have a decision to make on 4th down and 10. Now, they've punted out of the shotgun a couple of times already. So I guess we shouldn't expect anything different.
I see them normally just going for it.
Well, they're going to go for it right here. They've liked their defense tonight. Greaser to throw. Little bubble screen. Caught 30 and 25, and I think he got the first down. Now that hurts right there. That's Matney. You have them 4th down and 10, and the bubble screen works. They get a first down. Well, that's one of those plays you got to make sure you get a stop. One thing I would be concerned about right here, if I'm Richmond, if you can't get that offense rolling and the Trojans get 7 more on the board, though not out of reach by any means, but the Red Devils will have to work a little bit quicker on offense. 5 wide trips to the right. Hash mark now to the left. Greaser looking to his right. Ball's going to be caught at the 20. Still breaking tackles down to the 15. An extra 5 yards by Regal. And give him credit right there for the extra effort. Red Devils are going to have to wrap up a little better.
Yeah. I have to take two defenders to get him down. I think it was DeMarco Owens.
Well, but you stop him on the first hit, he probably is 6 yards back.
Yeah.
First down and 10 for the Trojans. They're going to work on the hash mark to the near side. This one just up in the air for grabs. Did he make the catch? No. Matney was the intended receiver. Red Devils had Vincent Narcisse there. They're hoping to use the size of Matney at 6'5" against the much smaller Vincent Narcisse at 5'11". I'm a little surprised they don't maybe use Matney a little bit over the middle. With his big frame, there's nobody, Richmond has nobody that size.
Yeah.
7:43 here in the third. Greaser to throw again over the middle and just out of the reach of his intended receiver as that falls incomplete. And now it'll be 3rd down. That was Regal again. Now, didn't I just say 7:43?
Deja vu moment?
The clock didn't move? I just said it was 7:43, and it's still sitting at 7:43. That play took no seconds off the clock. We've seen a couple of clock issues here. Greaser to throw. That one over the middle again. Ball caught. Touchdown. Trojans got the score. That is Regal. And it is now 13-3. So there you have it, a ball over the middle, though they didn't go to the big guy. They went to Regal at 5'8", and he got behind the defender. And the Red Devils now down by 10 with 7:37 remaining here in the third, and now the extra point attempt. Kick is on the way, and it is good.
The extra point is good.
Sectional football here from Richmond tonight, and the Trojans score first here in the third, and the Red Devils trail this one 14-3.
If you bought a ticket to an IHSAA athletic event last weekend, give yourself a giant pat on the back.
You helped ensure our school has the resources it needs to support our athletic program.
You might have even punched somebody's ticket to a better life.
Yeah, like mine.
So give yourself a big high five.
Yeah!
And thank you.
High school sports.
You pay.
We play.
Everybody wins.
That's right.
This message brought to you by the IHSAA.
Well, the Trojans now have a 14-3 lead as we play here in the third. Boy, a couple of missed tackles. And the next thing you know, the Trojans get in the end zone.
It's going to be curious to see what the Red Devils can do now.
Well, the one thing, again, and it's a little bit confusing just from you come off a game in which last week you scored 48 against Kokomo, and the Red Devils just cannot find anything offensively here tonight. And I know that from Newcastle, again, give them credit. They've done what they've had to do tonight against the Red Devils to this point. 7:37 remaining here in the third quarter. See what the Red Devils can do right here, as that'll be another squib kick. It's loose, and the Trojans may have jumped on it. Richmond special teams giving up the football, and the Trojans get it back. And that one hurts.
It does.
Wow. That's why I think you see so many teams anymore squib the football, because that thing starts bouncing around. You don't jump on top of it, and that'll cost you. And the Red Devils give up the football here in the third quarter. And they'll have it at, you heard the public address announcer, at the 23-yard line, excuse me. So now Newcastle, chance to really open this thing up. Regal in the backfield. 4 wide for the Trojans. They'll fake the handoff. Greaser, here they come. He gets hit from behind, loses the football, and the Trojans jump on top of it. Branton Thomas there for the Red Devils. Held on to it too long.
Placing the ball back on the 28-yard line. Second down and 15 to go.
.706 to go. Second down and 15. Red Devils need to get a stop right here and get that football back. Now, the one good thing about it is the Trojans do not run the football very well overall, so it'll be hard for them to run out the clock. Down the middle, and Regal is there, and he loses the football just off the fingertips. There for the Red Devils on coverage is Jack Guiley. So now third down and 15. Did you drop your blanket?
No, I just don't need it.
Oh. You know what? If you don't need it, I'll use it.
All right.
Put it around my delicate legs, at least one of them. 6:45. Big third down play right here for both the Trojans and especially for this Red Devil defense. Here they come, and this time he's going to get sacked. A flag is down. Jewel Taylor is there. And an official threw the flag right after the sack was made, and they're going to call a holding penalty on the Trojans, though I think the Red Devils will go ahead and decline it. They will. They'll take the sack, and now the Trojans with a fourth down. They would have to get all the way down to the 13-yard line. Well, now, wait a minute. What are they doing here? Yeah, they went the wrong way, guys. Now the officials are going to come over here and talk with Tony Sonsini, but the thing is, if the penalty was declined till you take the sack, it should be back further. Now, they may say, wait a minute, we're going to give him at the spot of his most forward progress. That's not going to go over well with the fans. Well, the thing is, there was a sack on the play. You can hear the fans. I mean, it was very evident the flag came down during the sack. So I don't know what they're arguing with right here. The Red Devils had declined it. And now both teams will, or at least the Red Devils will visit their bench, and the officials are going to have to kind of sort it out right here. They don't generally, well, they never do in high school football. let us know what's going on. In a lot of times in college football, even at the division, there you go, at the Division III level, they have them mic'd up so they can at least explain what the call is. So there you go. That's what you needed to do. So the penalties declined, and they'll take the sack. All right, now they got it figured out. 6:39 to go. So now the Trojans, 4th down and 25. They're going to go for it. Their defense has held so far. They'll fake the handoff. Greaser to throw and just overthrows his receiver. Just a little bit too long for Matney, and the Red Devils are going to get it back.
Yeah.
So the special teams mishap didn't cost Richmond anything right there. You can hear one of the fans downstairs. Coach, you got to move the football. Well, no kidding. We kind of figured that out. You can always count on coaches in the stands, that's for sure.
Like backseat drivers if you're in a car.
Exactly. All right, Van Vliet and the Red Devil offense back out, 1st down and 10 at the 37-yard line. Here is Wyatt to the 40. Second down and 7 after a gain of about 3. Now, if you're the Trojans, one thing that you like about this is they have an injured player coming off the field. Is that if Richmond runs the football, again, they don't mind bending, but they're not going to break type attitude. If you keep running the football, the clock keeps going.
Right.
So they don't mind seeing time coming off that clock, even here in the 3rd quarter. 6 minutes remaining. Van Vliet again will have Wyatt Bird, who gets the call over the right side. Wyatt on his feet to the 47, maybe 48-yard line.
Did he get the first down?
He did. One thing you're counting on here, too, if you're the Red Devils, you're hoping maybe Newcastle defensively might relax a little bit, knowing that they're up 14-3. They played well to this point. And if Richmond can perhaps catch them off guard, Richmond needs a spark somewhere. They need something big to happen to get them going here. 1st down and 10 for the Red Devils. Hand off, Wyatt. Wyatt gets hit immediately. He goes down. He did get to the 50-yard line, or close to the 50. He first took a shot by Matt Bell that slowed him down. We'll have to put it at the 49-yard line. 5:15 remaining here in the 3rd. We're trying to keep up with every other score going on at the same time. That's a weird thing about what social media has done to even high school athletics, is you can follow all these other games at the same time. Sassine is still leading the Bulldogs of Centerville 41-0 at the end of 3. Wyatt again over the right side, finds a hole inside the 45, down to near the 42-yard line. Let's go back to the top of the key page that we had earlier when it said ride the bird. And I think right now the Red Devils may be very content on saying we're going to ride the bird the rest of the way. Hand off, Bird. Bounce to the outside, gets driven back, may lose a yard. And he took a shot right there, but the officials do not blow a whistle.
Throw him down on his back. Fans don't like that at all.
I don't think I blame him too much. Now, again, trying to look at it from a perspective from what we have seen and what they may be thinking is the whistle stopped and they pulled their hands off and he lost his balance and went back. Does that sound like a good explanation?
I don't know. I saw a little bit more force.
Red Devils again, 2nd down and 11. Plenty of time for Van Vliet until he gets brought down from behind. Nice job by number 54, D-Ray Ford. Boy, I tell you what, if Clayton Raper can hold that block for another second, Van Vliet might have had a chance to get out there, but Raper didn't hold him off long enough. 3rd down and 17. The Red Devils have to get to the 32. The offense just not working here tonight so far. Down to 3 minutes remaining in the 3rd. Van Vliet takes the snap. Here they come again. Van Vliet will run it himself, and he'll go down. He will not get close to the 1st down. Back to the 43. So it's going to be 4th down and 11. He gains 6 right there. One thing that happens when you're a quarterback now, you start, a holding penalty. We didn't see the flag. There is a penalty flag back at the 45. I did not see it.
Richmond. Penalty is declined.
So the Trojans say, you know what, we're going to go ahead and take the result of the play, not the penalty. You know, I'm actually kind of surprised they don't take the penalty. I'll tell you why. You take him 10 yards back on the hold. If you stop him, you get better field position right here, I would think.
Yeah.
Peterbaugh runs that European-style kick, takes a Richmond bounce all the way down to the 6-yard line.
Great punt.
Now, one thing about that, if I'm the Trojans and Peterbaugh runs out there like that, I drill him because he became a running back all of a sudden. Well, the bottom line is you don't know if he's going to kick it or he's going to run it. It could have been a fake punt.
Right.
So once he gets outside that area, then he becomes fair game. And I'm not, again, I don't know why they didn't go after him, but I certainly would have given it a shot. I'd have used my Jack Lambert on him. My Nick Bonicatti.
Old-fashioned.
Old school football, not that stuff they play now, by golly. 1st down and 10, 2:44 to go here in the 3rd. Trojans now with a running back in the backfield behind Greaser. Second down now after gain of a couple. That was Dylan back in there, the 5'11", 189-pound junior.
That'll bring up 2nd down and 8. Ball now on the 8-yard line.
Well, I know a lot of us are kind of curious what has happened to the Red Devil offense here tonight. It just has not been there after 48 last week against Kokomo. But they may have flipped the field right here as the Trojans trying to find some room. Ball caught at the 10. Boyne barely holding on, but he did. Was Matney able to get to the sideline and driven out of bounds. He did not get the 1st down, though, so it'll be 3rd down at about 4. And I think the Red Devils want to talk about it right here. They will. We will take a quick timeout as the Red Devils down in this one, 14-3. This is sectional football right here in Radio Troy Digital Sport.
Richmond Community Schools offers rich and diverse learning opportunities in all of our outstanding schools. We offer more educational choices to students than any other school district in our area. Learning today, leading tomorrow.
I'm not worried about being ready for the world.
I just need the world to be ready for me.
We are the best choice. Enroll now.
We're back once again here at Leibold Field. 1:56 remaining. Red Devils get a timeout as they look to flip the field right here and get good field position. Now this hopefully would be the break if you're a Red Devil fan, that they can maybe Check, there's an injury for the Trojans. Whoever it is, and I can't pick up his number on the far side, but that was the reason we had the timeout, an injured player for the Trojans. We'll try to get his number if we can, as now the Trojans will have it fourth, or take that 3rd down and 4. Now, they picked up a couple of big 3rd down plays here tonight. Well, they lose one of their linemen. I'm not sure who it is, but he was a big fella. Can't pick out his number. Grazer again out of the shotgun with 5 wide. Boy, don't jump. You're going to give him a 1st down if you jump right here. Play clock down to 15 seconds.
They're going to drag this out, trying to force that penalty.
Yeah, they're going to see if they can get Richmond to jump right here. They do not. Here they come, and Grazer able to get out of the blitz as he rolls to the sideline, throws, and overthrows his receiver at the 30. And the Red Devils will hold on 3rd down. That pass intended for Rush. You know, the one thing about it, if Grazer just puts a little more air into that football, allow his running back to come down this sideline a little bit further, you might have been okay. Minute 24 now remaining as Richmond will get the football back. The wind has now begun to pick up. That's a bad kick that sails out of bounds on the near side.
About the 35.
Nate Smith looks like a lineman as far as like one of those edge rushers, but he kicks a little bit like me. So now Richmond's going to have really good field position right here. Temperature's getting a tad cooler here this evening.
Yeah, I think this is like, they couldn't have done it like within the past almost three quarters, but now this is the time. This is the time to score.
This is where they need a break.
Right.
Got to get it in the end zone. Here is Wyatt inside the 30, gets a yard or 2. Minute 15 to go in the 3rd. Again, it's a 2-possession game, so the Red Devils not only need to get the touchdown and the extra point, they'd have to come back and get another score. Now, I just don't think Newcastle can, with their inability to run the football, can run enough time off the clock. If you have a solid running game, you can really make the other team have to call timeouts to stop that clock. Wyatt again, caught from behind. May get a yard out of it. It's going to be quickly 3rd down and about 7.
See, this is what I don't understand. You have great field position, but I understand you want to keep it with Wyatt, but not every play is going to be a 1st down with Wyatt. You got to just pass it. You got to at least have some trust.
I think the Red Devils are going to go ahead and let the quarter run out. They will. We are going to head to the 4th on the Wesley Bates Wealth Management scoreboard. Red Devils trail this one 14-3.
Meet Josh.
Hi, everybody.
Josh is a high school basketball player, solid shooter, great teammate.
Hey, don't forget my tenacious D.
And he's my son.
Oh.
So, what does Josh do to be the best basketball player he can be?
I play tennis.
Studies show that student athletes here in Indiana who play more than one high school sport are more likely to excel. Tennis does more than improve Josh's conditioning. It gives him a fresh competitive outlet, reduces the risk of injury by cross-training, and introduces him to different coaching techniques and new friends.
Don't get me wrong, hoops are my first love. Tennis just gives me a little break.
So when the new season begins, Josh isn't burned out on basketball. He's eager to play, and you can see the difference in his game.
This message presented by the Indiana High School Athletic Association and the Indiana Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
Back at Leibold Field, we are down, barring it overtime, to our final 12 minutes as we head to the fourth quarter. Both teams not high-powered offenses coming in, as we said in the pregame. Newcastle averaging 24, the Red Devils 18 points per game, but neither team has really blitzed it here tonight. Needless to say, you can kind of tell by the scoreboard here this evening. But Richmond 48 last week and just 3 points here tonight. Big 3rd down and 7. Johnson in motion, gets the call. Johnson cut down in the open field. Great play by the Newcastle Trojans on defense. Regal coming up to make the stop. And now Richmond at 4th down. And they've got 4th down and 8 now. They lose a yard on that play.
That'll bring up 4th down on that run for no gain.
Do you trust Peterball in this situation? At least make it a one-score game.
Well, you know what? You could make it 14-6, makes it 8. You're right. You got to get the 6 and the 2, but I think bottom line, you got to come away with something on this drive, because Newcastle, though they cannot run the football as well, they're right now, I think, playing with as much momentum as you certainly would expect. But there's a timeout right there. Let's talk about that for a second. Richmond calls the timeout. You're at 4th down and 7. So you're going to have to now give your quarterback time to throw, because you got to let your receivers get at least 7 yards down to get past that marker before you can throw the football.
Right.
But that depends on, are you going to give your quarterback enough time? Number 2 is, do you try to go back to Wyatt Bird to run the football? But he hasn't had the kind of night that you would hope that's going to get him 7 yards.
Right.
So whatever decision they're going to make, you have 3 options. Bird, give your receivers, get them a chance to get downfield. It means your offensive line is going to have to do a really good job of blocking or to go for the field goal, and they're not going to go for the field goal.
Yeah, I think just passing is the smartest decision that they can do right now.
Okay, but you got to get your guys time. So that means this offensive line is going to be really big right here.
Right.
11:16 to go in the fourth quarter. Wyatt Bird, the lone setback. Van Vliet will throw. Pumps once, throws to the near side. Ball is going to be caught. Did he hold on? No. Dropped the football. That was a near catch by Crow, but they're going to say he did not hold on to the ball. It would have been close, though. They would have gotten him to the 19-yard line, but Newcastle's defense able to hold again as the Red Devils unable to hold on to the football. So now the Trojans, chance to run a lot of clock if they can. But as I said before, if you're not a running football team, unless you can dink and dump the way they've done so far, it's been successful to get their first downs. They're not going to run out the clock on the ground. So now, Trojan football, 1st and 10 at the 27-yard line. Bubble screen again, ball caught, and across the 30 to the 32-yard line. Boy, they run that bubble screen as good as anybody we have seen this year. That'll be Rush again on the reception. 2nd down and 5. And, boy, here's the other thing. You got to manage those timeouts, and Richmond used a timeout a little bit ago, so they only have 2 to use the rest of the way. Trojans again at 2nd down and 5. Here they come, and they're going to drop him for a loss on this one, back to the 30, so a 2-yard loss. You know, sometimes we call that a covered sack. And I'm not sure how good the coverage was, but all the receivers were on the right side of Greaser. I almost thought they were a guy short, but they've got 5, 8, and 11, but they didn't use the 4 receivers that time that they generally have lined up in. And you can see one of their H-backs right now here to the near side. So they've basically gone away from the 5 wide. 3rd down and 7. Greaser to throw. Here they come again. Greaser able to get out of that one. Takes a hit at the 34-yard line. So Richmond apparently has made some pretty decent adjustments as far as their coverages on those little short passes. So now Johnson will be deep. See, they only ran off, 2 minutes on the clock right there? Was it 10-10? Not even 2 minutes. When they got the football, there were 10 minutes and 10 seconds remaining. There's 9:09, so they didn't even get a whole minute off in the time they had it.
Right.
And now they're going to run that play clock and the game clock down again under 9 minutes. And they'll call a timeout. So the Trojans will get a timeout. We will take a timeout as well on the Wesley Bates Wealth Management scoreboard. 14-3, Trojans on top.
Richmond Community Schools offers rich and diverse learning opportunities in all of our outstanding schools. We offer more educational choices to students than any other school district in our area. Learning today, leading tomorrow.
I'm not worried about being ready for the world.
I just need the world to be ready for me.
We are the best choice. Enroll now.
By the way, there is one final we can tell you about as Mount Vernon beat Connorsville 64-0. Spartans end their season again at 0-10. Northeastern now losing 28-6 in the 3rd quarter. They're losing to Heritage Christian. Get any other scores, we'll try to pass those along. Here's a big 4th down now. Milan is leading Knightstown 3-0 after 3. Of course, Knightstown out of the Tri-Eastern Conference. So 8:57 remaining, and now the Trojans at 4th down and 4. Greaser's going to throw over the middle and not able to bring it in is Regal. And how about that? That's really a tough call. I tell you what, I'm not sure why you would do that. You gave Richmond good field position. You should have flipped the field, and of course maybe their punting game isn't very good, but I would have tried to flip the field and at least try to get your defense some field position here.
But I mean, last time this happened, Richmond didn't utilize.
They haven't taken advantage of it, have they?
Right.
Well, that's a tough call, though. I mean, tough offensive play call.
Must have a lot of trust in their defense.
8:54 remaining. Richmond gets it back down 14-3. Here's the handoff. Bird, 25 down to the 21-yard line. Richmond playing a little misdirection. So the Red Devils are first down.
Starting to wonder how many carries Wyatt has so far.
A few, I think. That's for sure. Yeah, we said ride the bird, and they're going to do it, I think. They got him the football against Anderson. He said, just give me the ball, we'll win, and they did. Hand off Wyatt again. Wyatt down near the 16-yard line. See, I just, with the Trojans having their quarterback being able to punt the football like he did, we saw that earlier, they should have just lined up again in the shotgun and let him punt it away. Because you don't want to give Richmond real good field position on something like that. I know you'd like your defense, but you don't want to give Richmond any momentum. 7:57 to go. Van Vliet again in the shotgun. Wyatt to the outside. Wyatt cuts back and down near the 7-yard line. That'll be another Red Devil first down.
It seems like Newcastle's defensive line is not blitzing more. They're trying to wait for Wyatt to even come across, but I mean, it's just backfiring for them.
Well, I'll go back to what I said before. I thought they got, first off, a little conservative. They didn't start dumping those passes off again. Why they didn't keep going 5 wide, but all right, Red Devils, chance again. Here's Wyatt. Wyatt to the 5 and will be brought down maybe at the 4. They'll spot the football where?
That's a 3-yard run.
They're going to say right at the 5-yard line. 7:12 to go. It's been a clean second half from a penalty standpoint for the most part. Trojans are just trying to hold on right here. The Red Devils have to get 2 scores, though. And it's got to start right here. 2nd and goal at the 5. Wyatt in the backfield. Hand off Wyatt, and he's going to get dropped for a loss. Not this time. So the Red Devils will lose a couple of yards. Dylan Beck was in there first, the inside linebacker. Now, if you're the Trojans, you like to see this because that clock now is ticking. Red Devils trying to hold on to the 2 timeouts they have remaining.
All right,
6:23.
In this situation, I try to get like maybe a slant. See if you could try to get something, maybe a quick pass.
Yeah, you're 3rd and goal from the 9-yard line now. They will look to throw. The slant was there, and Van Vliet gets out of it. Ball is in the air, intended for Guiley, and the defensive back turned around in time, able to knock it down. That's Jordan Page, who we've called a couple of times tonight. And now the Red Devils faced with a 4th down and 9, and Gage Peterbaugh will come in to attempt the field goal.
Should be a chip shot.
Well, at least they're looking to get points out of this.
Right.
You know, the last time we talked about it, they got nothing. They've got to get something on the board right here, and then it makes it basically the touchdown and then a 2-point conversion. But if you're the Trojans, as the kick is on the way, and they say it is good, so the Red Devils get 3 on the Wesley Bates Wealth Management scoreboard. Red Devils now down 14-6.
If you bought a ticket to an IHSAA athletic event last weekend, give yourself a giant pat on the back.
You helped ensure our school has the resources it needs to support our athletic program.
You might have even punched somebody's ticket to a better life.
Yeah, like mine.
So give yourself a big high five.
Yeah.
And thank you.
High school sports.
You pay.
We play.
Everybody wins.
That's right.
This message brought to you by the IHSAA.
Back up, yeah.
Well, the Red Devils now trail at 14-6 after the Gage Peterbaugh field goal. If I'm the Trojans now, I'm going to look for the squib kick, something that they can't get a decent return on, but the Red Devils are hoping that they can get the football back. This is going to be interesting. Richmond's season, will it continue tonight or will it end? The winner of this game plays Mount Vernon next week. The Red Devils kick it deep, and that will send it into the end zone. So the Trojans will have it 1st and 10 at the 20-yard line.
With that touchback, it'll be Trojans ball.
Now, if I'm the Trojans, now remember one thing. They have 2 timeouts remaining. Richmond has 2 timeouts. You're wanting Richmond to burn their timeouts. So you've got to get a sustained drive going here if you're Newcastle. So 1st down and 10. Just over 6 minutes remaining. Now they're back to their 5 wide. This is where they made most of their success in the first half. They'll throw to the bubble screen again. Richmond reading it well this time. Wyatt Bird playing defense. And Wyatt comes up to make the stop. How about Wyatt? Apparently he said, you know what? I'm sick and tired of sitting over here watching defense. Maybe I can go out and help.
Potential last game. You got to do what you got to do.
Yeah. This is why you look now at all hands on deck. 2nd down and 8. Trojans continue to run that play clock, and that means the game clock down to 5:30. Now it is clock management. But again, the Red Devils still have to score and get the 2-point conversion. Ball caught, and Vincent Narcisse dumping the receiver immediately. That is Regal again. And the Trojans now have 3rd down and about 7 for the first down. Trojans trying to hold on here in the 4th quarter, under the 5-minute mark. Still a lot of time on the clock. A flag goes down. On the far side, was that against the Trojans? I think we have a sideline violation against Newcastle. We have seen that called more this year than I've ever seen it called before. Now, they may say it's just a warning. I think it was just a warning. Generally, they don't throw the flag on a warning like that. They just blow the whistle and tell the coach to get back. Reeser looking to the sideline. 4:40 to go, 10 on the play clock. Big 3rd down and 6 right here for the Trojans. They'll put a man in motion, look to throw. They have a man over the middle and bobbles in and drops it. They had a first down right there. And he was unable to hold on.
They definitely needed that one. I mean, stopping the clock with 4:27 left in the game. That was probably one of the most crucial plays in this late half.
It was Aiden Bradley, just a freshman in the ball game, 5'11", 155. And so now the Trojans will have to punt it away at 4:27. Richmond's been able to flip the field right here. They should get excellent field position. The rush, and they run into the kicker. Oh, my, and that's going to give the Trojans the football back. Johnson on the return, but it won't matter. They roughed the punter. Blaine Pierce was the one, I think, who got him. And that's a huge, huge penalty and an automatic first down for the Trojans.
It's a killer.
Boy, that's an understatement.
So if you're the Red Devils in this situation, what do? You just gave up a costly mistake. 4:19 left in the game. Can't give up now. Still an 8-point game.
Well, first off, see what happens on first down. Because you know the Trojans, number one, they want that clock to run. You got 2 timeouts to use, but you're going to have to use them on defense.
Right.
So because you got to get the ball back, and if you can get them stopped on 1st and 2nd down, try to make them go 3rd and long. So the one thing you got to do is you got to get the football back now. 4:13 remaining, and now the clock is on its way. And they're going to let that clock run. But the Red Devils don't want to use a timeout yet. But they're going to run another 5 seconds off here, maybe. Reeser out of the shotgun. They'll run the football. And a big run over the right side. Good enough for a first down. And that's exactly what you need. Boy, a team that doesn't run the ball very much could not have asked for a bigger run right there. Dylan Beck, who is their linebacker, number 35, able to get a big, big run. That's huge.
It is huge.
Now you got to think about that. That's where you needed to stop. Now you got to think about your timeouts. Because Richmond is not a quick scoring team. Trojans got a big first down right there. If I'm the Trojans, I'm running it again. Here he is. Now you think that Richmond might call a timeout right here. Beck once again on the carry. Beck a load too. He's nice looking running back. If you want to run the football, I think he'd be the guy. Trojans in no hurry. They can run another 15 seconds off right here, get this clock down to about 2:20. Red Devils decide not to call a timeout in that situation. 2nd down and 8. Greaser wisely keeping an eye on the play clock. He'll fake the handoff, keep it himself. Around the outside, 1st down and more. Red Devils fail to contain to the outside, and Greaser gets a 1st down, but there is a penalty flag down. It'll be a holding penalty against the Trojans. That's big.
It is very big. Very indeed.
2:30 remaining. Well, I'm almost certain that if Greaser gets that 1st down, they kind of seal the game. Because now you're down to 2:30 to go. They get another 1st down. You got to burn those timeouts eventually. Now they're going to run the clock again. So when to use the timeouts? They can run another 15 here. You're going to run it down to the 2-minute mark. Not sure I wouldn't have used maybe one of them right there. So now it'll be 2nd down and 12. And they're going to use all 4 downs. I don't think there's any doubt about that. They'll run the football again. Richmond blitzing, and that's going to be easy for the Red Devils. Blaine Pierce was in there. Also in there for the Red Devils, Jewel Taylor. 1:59 to go, and Richmond does call a timeout right there. We will keep it here for this timeout. Winner of this game will play Mount Vernon, who shut out Connorsville tonight. Newcastle trying to get a chance to get a rematch with their conference opponents. Team that they got beat badly by earlier in the year. But it is tournament time. So now a big 3rd down play.
Well, I'm curious to see if they're going to keep it on the ground, which I most likely think they will, to join as much clock as they can. But it's also interesting if they do take it deep and pick up the 1st down, it's over.
Well, here's one, yeah, because they have to get to the 39. I think they're more interested in using this play to get something close. Because if they get close, I think they'll go for it. So if I'm one of their receivers, I'm trying to get inside the 50 and get somewhere around the 45. 1:59 remaining. Greaser has one in the backfield. There's that little screen to the outside. They get a block ahead. 45-40. They got more than a 1st down. 20, and finally driven out of bounds. That's a huge play for Regal and the Trojans. Well, I was thinking the only thing you wanted to get was maybe half of it.
Yeah.
Well, they got more than half.
Oh, yeah.
And the Red Devils unable to get the stop on a big 3rd down and long.
It's the infamous bubble screen.
Yeah, they run that really well. I think they've run it better than anybody because here's the key to that. It's not only the catch, the guy's blocking. And they got some good blocking. So now 1:49 remaining. Trojans knocking on the door at the 11-yard line. They'll run the football right here. Richmond trying to strip the ball. They cannot do so, and Richmond has to burn their final timeout. Taylor on the carry for Newcastle.
It's going to take a miracle for this one. I mean, Trojans are already in scoring position.
Well, and the other thing is, now you have no timeouts.
Right.
That big play that was made right there may have sealed the deal tonight for Newcastle. Richmond's got to strip the football. If they're going to run it, you got to try to strip it out. You got to get a turnover right here in order to stay alive. The only problem with that is, unless you're able to run it back somehow, you've got to go a long way now to minute 38 with no timeouts. And you'd have to have a lot of quick hitters to the sideline to get the ball out of bounds. Is Richmond's offense just not here tonight? Well, tonight you can see Richmond go out, Northeastern go out, Centerville go out, Lincoln go out. Who am I missing? Hagerstown. I haven't seen an update from that game. You can see a lot of our area teams bowing out on the first night of tournament play. And right now the Trojans trying to send the Red Devils home early. They'll run the football, as they should, because Richmond cannot stop the clock.
That'll bring up third down on that short game.
Dylan Beck may find himself getting the football the rest of the way. That's the most helpless feeling you have right now, is that you just cannot stop the clock, and they can run it one more time and run it out. Literally, and then I'd run it again the next time, because Richmond can't do anything. Under a minute to go. And Richmond's season is going to come to an end here tonight, as the Trojans will use a timeout to avoid the delay of game penalty. Well, let's go back. Talk about at the beginning. Richmond, I thought, played well defensively. In fact, well enough to win, other than a couple of plays. I'm sure Wyatt Bird had 30 carries tonight. Van Vliet at times threw well, had the one interception. Newcastle didn't really have much of a balanced attack tonight, but they had the big plays, and they did this. They played defense.
Yes.
I know Richmond's not a high-scoring team, but they only average 18 a game, but you managed your defense that gives up 36 points per game. You managed tonight to give up only 6. That's big. That might be the key to this entire night.
Right.
And the Indiana Careers in Construction Association, built to succeed.
So 53.8 remaining, third down and 14. Trojans have to run they'll run the next 2 plays, it'll be over.
You know, as we come up to wraps, what do you think the seniors, especially Wyatt Bird, what is thinking right now? I was thinking,
they'll strip the football, number 1. Boy, there's a touchdown. Well, Trojans are going to win tonight, and they just put the exclamation point on this one, as Richmond will see their season come to an end tonight. Dylan Beck with the run of 15 yards and the score, and the Red Devils trail at 20-6. Well, you know what? The seniors are going to look at this, and I know they're disappointed by tonight, but as we said earlier, hopefully part of their legacy as a flag goes down is that they were able to turn the program to a 500 program and not a team that won just 2 games, no games, no games. So that's what they had to start somewhere, and I thought the season was better than they expected. I think most people thought they might beat Connorsville, and that would be it. So now the extra point attempt after the penalty flag. Unfortunately, though, tonight the offense just could not get going. And the extra point is good.
The kick is good.
21-6. We will keep it here for this timeout. And Newcastle, for the second straight time in tournament play, coming to Richmond and beating the Red Devils. But I'm going to still look at the big picture, that now you have a foundation to work with a little bit more than you've had in the last 3 to 4 years.
Right, and exactly, especially with with Van Vliet coming in the beginning of this year as a freshman quarterback and building himself, steadily, showing a lot more growth. Coming in next year when he's a sophomore.
Yeah. Well, you're going to lose Wyatt Bird. That's going to hurt. But Aquavian Allen has shown he can run the football. DeMarco Owens has shown he can run the football. You're going to lose 3 linemen. You'll have, though, a couple of guys up front. Ortiz will be back. He'll be an integral part. You lose Blaine Pierce, who's been a 4-year starter. That's going to hurt. You lose Jewel Taylor. You lose Brenton Thomas, guys who have been through this for the last 4 years and stayed with it. And those seniors that are leaving went through some tough times and easily could have given up, and they didn't. And so they can say now, we walked out of here and we left the program much better when we left than when we came in. So 49.4, an onside kick. Ball is loose. Red Devils will jump on it at about the 44. And Tony Sonsini is going to be in it for the long haul. He has family here. He is established here. He's been a positive for this program. And now he'll look to build the middle school and the youth programs. And I'm sure by tomorrow he'll be thinking about next year already. And you have all these receivers back too. When they start working with Van Vliet next season, they'll be much better. So, a lot of positives to look at. Empty backfield, 5 wide again for Van Vliet. He'll air it out. Johnson, and that's overthrown.
And I think you have a great point. You're looking at the positives. You don't want to look at all the negatives, like, oh, we lost to this opponent. We lost to that opponent. You want to look at the qualities of each game, even if it's a win or a loss.
Well, I think here's the one thing that Tony was realistic. He knew they weren't going to beat a Marion. He wanted to compete. He knew they were going to beat a Lafayette Jeff. He didn't have the numbers. You go to McCutcheon, I thought that he said they played well up there. They just couldn't get their offense going. But he was realistic. He knew that they had a chance against Muncie Central. They had a chance against Anderson. They had a chance here tonight. Just couldn't get the offense going. So he knew what was possible as Eli Irvin will make the catch. He wasn't throwing up smoke and mirrors during the season. He knew they'd have to play perfect football against those teams, but he also knew that games like Connorsville and them, they needed to win, because in the book next year it'll say 5-5. It's not going to say 2-8. And that's the one thing they needed to avoid, is just having a 1-9 or 2-8 season again. So now they can sell the program to the younger kids. 38.1. Van Vliet to throw again. Flushed out of the pocket, fires. Johnson on the catch. Marquise up the right sideline. Marquise is going to score. 52 yards, and Marquise Johnson makes it 21-12. Now,
it ain't over yet.
You go for 2.
Yeah, you go for 2. You get hope for an onside.
Yeah, all of a sudden the Trojans are going, wait a minute, what happened? So the Red Devils will go for 2 right here. Marquise Johnson, I think that might be his first touchdown catch since the 3 against Connorsville at the beginning of the year. But the Trojans has made it a little bit tougher on themselves. Wyatt Bird in the backfield. Van Vliet to throw over the middle, tipped in the air, and that'll be intercepted there. So the Red Devils unable to get the 2-point conversion. 26.5 seconds remaining. Red Devils trail this one 21-12.
Richmond Community Schools offers rich and diverse learning opportunities in all of our outstanding schools. We offer more educational choices to students than any other school district in our area. Learning today, leading tomorrow.
I'm not worried about being ready for the world.
I just need the world to be ready for me.
We are the best choice. Enroll now.
Believe it or not, the Red Devils still have a chance, though they're down by a score of 21-12 or 9. I mean, I say a chance, it's an outside chance. You had to get that 2-point conversion in order to make it a 21-14 game. That certainly looks better 7-9, but onside kick, get the football back, score quick, onside kick. I'm trying to look at all the areas we could probably get this in, okay? So we onside kick, get it back, throw deep, touchdown. All of a sudden you do it within 2 seconds.
Right.
Now, of course, our operator earlier ran the clock somewhere, or didn't run the clock, so we might get lucky. Onside kick, it's got to go 10. It does. I think Richmond got it back.
And see, if they would have went for the point after, it would have been an 8-point game.
Yeah, well.
I mean, pass is the pass, but I mean,
yeah.
Just look for the future.
Well, Richmond's going to get it at the 50. You know, Trojans almost look like they didn't even go for the football right there. I don't think one of their assistant coaches is very happy on the spot of that football. He is beside himself. So the Red Devils get it back. Again, they've got to score quickly. Go for 2. Make it a 1-point game. Here comes the blitz, and Van Vliet goes down, and that's one thing they couldn't have happen. So the Red Devils cannot stop the clock here, and it's going to be over, and the Trojans are going to win it here tonight. Richmond's going to try to line up pretty quick. 5 seconds remaining. They do get the playoff. They'll throw to the far side. It's intercepted, and that's going to do it. So your final score, Newcastle 21, Richmond 12, as now the Trojans will advance to next week. They'll play Mount Vernon in the semifinals. But again, as we said, Ryan, Red Devils have a lot of positives here to work for down the future. All right, thanks for being with us. Your final score, Newcastle 21, Richmond 12. This has been sectional football right here on Radio Troy Digital Sports.
To thank our sponsors, First Aid Richmond, Eric Van Vliet, John Tate, Joe's Gutter